Yo! Hello? Hello, hello, hello.
Swim mascot.
Okay, can you hear me? 1, 2, 3. Do you hear me? Hello? Hello, can you hear me? 1, 1, 1. Okay, so we will have all picks, bracket also, so everything. We will have picks. There are no bans, best of 5. So it's best of 5 without ban. Yep. Where is? Yeah, yeah, here we clear. Where is Daroj? Okay, Darach is here, right?
Hey man, how you doing?
I'm fine. So, yeah.
Disconnect and join to a different Wi-Fi. I'm on the wrong one. So just 2 seconds.
Okay, waiting for you. Okay, guys, we are starting. 30 seconds video.
World Electronic Sports Games returns with a new season, the largest championship among national teams in the history of esports. Dota 2, Hearthstone, CSGO, StarCraft 2, and $5.5 million at stake. European finals will be held in marvelous Barcelona from the 22nd to the 26th of November. Win your slot in the finals of the World Championship. Register right now.
3, 2, 1, live.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the WESG Hearthstone qualifiers for Denmark. We've got another fantastic-looking couple of semi-finals and a final to figure out who is going to be advancing out of the Denmark region into the European finals in Barcelona in November. And to everyone's delight, I'm sure this is not going to be another solo cast as it has been for the past couple of days. I have a fantastic co-caster joining me in Monkeloid. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing really good, Derek. Good to be back with you on the casting desk. Was a couple of months ago, but we have a good time now again. And we have like one of the best regions, I think, in Europe, Denmark tonight, with some amazing players in that region.
I mean, it was looking absolutely stacked. There have been certain regions where we've seen, Germany was looking very good, as well as some of the obvious other ones like Ukraine was looking pretty good as well. But Denmark, so many recognizable names starting out yesterday, where it was an open qualifier in Hoy, Crane, Impy. You can I'm just going down the list here. Janos, a well-known player. William as well, making his way to the top here. I know. Maybe if he wins this, Tyler will give him mod in his chat at long last. I know he's been vying for that for a long time. But two players slightly less fantastic to see in this first semi-final, making a good name for themselves in WASG. The fact that it's an open qualifier to anyone who wants to sign up is one of the best bits about this event. And we're seeing some standard decks from these players and some stuff that's a little bit less agreed upon as whether it belongs in a top-tier tournament lineup.
Yeah, pretty fun to see that both players don't play Rogue. Well, you could say that it's one of the best decks right now. But they choose for Mage and Hunter. But I can understand it because there's like no ban, right? So they have to counter the Druid and the Priest, two of the class that are played way more than the Rogue in the tournament lineup.
And we've seen throughout the past couple of qualifiers that if it's built in the right way, Tempo Mage really feels like it's got a good spot in the current meta. We saw from ILU yesterday, she brought a very top-heavy build of Tempo Mage to try and target Priest, which didn't really work out because her opponent didn't bring Priest, which was really unfortunate for her. But the majority of the time, could kind of get behind that kind of a build. But to get things going, we're going with a very much agreed upon fantastic deck in the current format in the Jade Druid. And for both players, yeah, reasonable but not fantastic starting hands to get things going.
Yeah, I think the starting hand of Krilly is a little bit better because he already has that Wild Growth in his hand and he can curve that out so well with the Fandral. Matt the Great still looking for his ramp. Got the Jade out, but still looking for like a Wild Growth or a Jade Blossom or even the Nourish for later on in this game.
I mean, I know that a lot of the time players are split amongst what Jade Druid's plan is in certain matchups where, you're always looking for your mana ramp, but are you looking to use that mana to play Jades as aggressively as possible on curve every turn, or go for the ultimate infestation as quickly as possible? In the mirror, what do you think your absolute plan A is in this matchup?
Of course, the ramp is really important, but you also want to get those Jades rolling. Like, if your Jades are one or two bigger than your opponent's ones, you can always make those value trades in the other Jades, and that's so great to have. Good hand here by Matt the Great now. He can curve out with the Nourish, go for Ram, go for Medivh, and then go for something like Spreading Plague, get like a tempo swing. Like, Krilly is sitting there with double Mark of the Lotus, not really the cards you're looking for. And look at this top deck of Matt the Great, the Jade Blossom on turn 3. That was exactly what he was looking for.
I mean, this is kind of weird because for both players, it was looking, as you said, average in both respects. Like a little bit of ramp for both players, a little bit of Jade. But it's kind of, for both players, become fantastic. For Krilly here, he's going to get Fandral into Nourish, the absolute nuts for Druid. It really doesn't get any better than that, especially when you're curving perfectly into Medivh after that, and you've got a good chance to find Ultimate Infestation to get that off the Atiesh as well. It's gone from decent to fantastic for Krilly. But for Matt the Great, he can also just curve out really strong here. Aya into Jade Behemoth, just pulling ahead on tempo, might be enough to counter all the draw and ramp that Krilly has already accrued.
Yeah, you really want to get rid of that Fandral, but you don't have an answer for it right now, so you probably have to play the Aya and the Jade Behemoth just to contest the board. Like, Krilly can ramp up and can maybe play one or two smaller minions, but if Matt the Great can keep that Jade train rolling, he's probably gonna win the game anyway. Like, if he plays the Aya now, his Jades will already be like 3-3, 4-4. Jade Behemoth will even spawn a 5-5, so it's insane.
Wow. And I think that's the most crucial thing about this mirror, isn't it? Is that people will often mistake what your game plan is in this matchup. They'll be shuffling their Jade Idols too often. They think it's about getting to the super late game as quickly as possible. But it's just about tempo. That's all you really need to be concerned about in this matchup. If you can pull ahead, it's very, very unlikely that the opposing Jade Druid will be able to pull it back into their favor.
And as we know, like, Druid has such a hard time with dealing with high health minions. So if Matt the Great can pull out the board with like a bunch of big Jades, there's no way Krilly is ever gonna kill it. Like, he can ramp, he can draw all the cards he wants, but if he cannot deal with the minions, like, there's no way he's gonna win the game. And he finds a second Nourish with Fandral, but do you actually want to play it? I think playing with Medivh right now to contest the board and to set up a good board yourself is really necessary right now.
I can totally agree with you there. It's worth pointing out that Krilly, if he's built his deck to go about it in the right way, it can be really, really impactful just having this much card draw, because even though you fall behind, if he's got Spreading Plague, Mind Control techs in combination with Mark of the Lotus, there are kind of comeback mechanics for the Druid. But I agree, don't Nourish turns in too much tempo loss. Definitely appreciate on this turn throwing down the Medivh, because even if you don't get it on the same turn as the Fandral, so what? You can still be getting a 5-mana minion and drawing 3 cards.
Yeah, exactly. And it's fun to see that all those Druid players play Mark of the Lotus now to combo it with like the Spreading Plague. Like a 1-5 or a 2-6 is such a difference. I'm curious if Matt the Great is also playing the Mark of the Lotus version, but It's one of those things that can actually give you a little bit of a comeback if you're getting far behind on board.
Yeah, that's right. Once again, we do not have access to the players' deck list, whereas they do have access to each other's deck list. So they will be playing around whatever kind of tech inclusions their opponent has put in, which in the Jade Mirror can make a big difference. You know, if you know your opponent has the mind control tech, if you're in a favorable position, all of a sudden you really slow down the amount of cards you're actually playing. Thankfully for Matt the Great, whether or not his opponent does have the mind control tech, not too much of a worry at the moment. He can play the Jade and cap.
Let's see what Crilly is going to do here. Probably gonna play a bunch of spells here. Like, you definitely want that Medivh weapon going to Atiyesh, but the thing is, how are you gonna do it? Like, he's still hovering over the Nourish. He's like, yeah, I have the Fendril, so I can go for Nourish. It's only 3 mana, draw 3 cards, because you get like 2 additional mana. But you can also decide to go for like double swipe Mark of the Lotus, get like a big board, buff everything up, get some value trades off. But he's deciding to go for Malfurin, yeah, and of course with the Fendril, it's insane because you get those spiders. You get both of the spiders, and now Mark of the Lotus is so strong. Also, Atiyesh spawning another main gets a cleric pretty strong, making it a 2-4 with the Mark of the Lotus.
This is just absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
I was at first, before I realized the Fandral synergy that was there, I was thinking, you know, is this the most tempo you can develop onto the board? Which is really what really needs to be doing here. He needs to be starting to threaten his own. But with Fandral, Mark of the Lotus actually is easily the biggest tempo swing he could throw down onto the board. And the fact that it only makes 1 minion with the first Mark of the Lotus and there's no room for the second one is actually good, because you don't want to be making a 1 mana minion off the Atiyesh. You want to save it for swipe and nourish.
Yeah, but if you look at the board right now, it's going to be really hard for Matt the Great to come back in this game. Yeah, he's probably going for Nourish Ram, maybe go for a swipe, set up for like an ultimate infestation, but I don't think it's going to be enough. The thing is, what do you swipe here? I think you do one of the poisonous spiders just to protect the minions a little bit. But it looks so bad right now for Matt the Great. He probably has to double trade into one of the taunt minions. You can also wait a little bit, but I think you have to remove one. You get like the value trades right now. But yeah, Crilly sitting on double swipe. He's going to be pretty happy if he makes the double value trade here.
So for Crilly, he's got what, 8, 10, 13, 14, 20, 23 damage. I think he'll be able to push through if the double trade comes through. But I think without that double trade, that is just exact lethal. If I've done my maths correct.
Oh,
he will,
wait, with the hero power.
With the hero power and the Atiyesh. So he'd have to attack in first before he goes for double swipe, or he would be one off, I believe. That could be incorrect maths. That's just quick maths. But I like the shot anyway.
Oh, let's see if this exactly. I think he's gonna have enough damage here. But even if he is 1 damage off lead, I don't think Matt the Great can actually make a comeback here.
And I'm very possibly just making a mistake anyway.
Oh, it
It's
was
easy.
1 damage off. It was 1. Oh, no,
1 over. Okay, so he did it right. I mean, I guess there's nothing off the Atiyesh that can stop from attacking in anyway, so nicely done there by Crilly. And, you know, I think Matt the Great had his game plan mostly mapped out correctly there, because if your opponent is going for something like Fandral into Nourish, they're clearly going to be ahead in the mid to late stages of the game. So you just want to be going all out with the Jade. So I liked going Aya into Jade Behemoth, spamming the board with as many minions as possible. But it just didn't quite work out for him because, as you said, Fandral on the board for that long, getting the spiders and the scarabs was way too much to deal with, just falling behind on tempo as expected.
Yeah. Crilly having that dream start with the Wild Growth Fandral, and Matt the Great not having an answer for that Fandral, so Crilly could curve out with the Nourish. That was just game winning right there. Matt the Great has a pretty good Jade start, of course, but he didn't have the ramp to keep up with Crilly's amazing start, and he couldn't deal with the Fandral as well. So that Fandral having a lot of value with the Nourish, the Wrath, and even the Malfurion with Mark of the Low is such a great combo to win the game.
So now for Crilly, he's left with his Priest and his Mage, and I have to get your opinion. We've seen mostly tempo mages in the mage slot at the moment. Do you think that's the way to go, or would you prefer something like a freeze or quest mage?
I could understand if people bring quest mage, because like they say, quest mage is like pretty good counter against priest and Jade Druid. And I think in this format, when there's no ban, 99% of the people will just pick Jade Root and Priest, right? Because
Right,
they just are the two strongest decks in the game. So I could think people are gonna bring Quest Mage here, but still, Quest Mage is one of those decks that's not really consistent. You need so many parts to fire off that combo, while the decks like Priest and Druid are so consistent and so strong, and I can definitely get a win against a deck like Quest Mage.
And it kind of, Quest Mage also just sucks so much against Rogue at the moment because it just can't survive all the consistent pressure that comes through. So I can see that the reasoning behind the fact that the majority of the time it's been Tempo Mage coming through. But from both players here, we saw off the mulligan, this is the Gadgetzan Auctioneer variant, which is means that neither player is at an advantage or a disadvantage. Because I'm pretty sure in the mirror, if you're running Lyra over the Gadgetzan Auctioneer, you're just going to be finding your combo of Raza and Anduin less consistently. You really do just want all the draw you can possibly get, because this is absolutely all just about getting Raza and Anduin as quickly as you can.
Yeah, and it's fun to see that Krilly is going full for that kind of plan. He's just going for the Gadgetzan build. He's like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna play the Priest mirror. There's no ban, so definitely gonna play that, and I want to be ahead in that mirror match. He's playing the Gadgetzan. Probably gonna get a lot of draws as well. Like if he keeps the coin and the Power Wheel Shield, there's gonna be 3 draws out of the Gadgetzan for sure. And it's also so strong against Priest because it's got that 4 attack that Priest has such a hard time to deal with.
I mean, what can the Priest do to deal with that? It doesn't die to Dragonfire Potion. It would have to be either pint-sized potion with something else, or exactly the Silence. And there's a good chance that would just come down sooner from Matt the Great than waiting for the Auctioneer.
Ooh, pretty hard choice there for Matt the Great.
Yeah.
Like, Cabal Courier is one of those cards that's not included in every Priest list, so there was like Inner Fire. It could be a tech card in his Priest. Yeah, maybe Mind Fishing, yeah.
I've seen pepperings around, but as I said, it is open format, so it would be a little bit embarrassing for Matt if he messed that up right at the start.
Oh, they know each other's deck list.
That's right.
Okay.
No excuses then. But wow, that is the Raza
Oh,
off of the Curious Glimmerroot. No mistakes there. You know that is the card in your opponent's deck.
Yeah, and now you. Oh! Matt the Great found Andrew out of his Cabal Career that he got from the Glimmerroot. That's so insane. If Matt the Great found his Raza now. Oh man. What's happening here? Exactly those 2 cards, the Raza and Anon.
The odds of that. Both players getting half the combo off of their Curious Glimmerroots eventually.
Oh man. This is just crazy.
That has to be, because you get like a random Priest card out of that, don't you? So that has to be even less than 1 in 30 as it was for Krilly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and also for Cabal Career, it's like you can choose from 3 Drift and Claws, and now it can
Get Kazakas!
Oh man.
Mate, I'm in Cabal Courier in every single one of my decks as soon as I play Hearthstone later on. Even the ones that can't even put it in, I'll find a way.
You could also have decided to go for like Mind Blast to have your combo faster. Like if you can go for like an extra Mind Blast for more face damage later on in the game, especially with the Prophet Venom, could have get you like a way earlier lethal. But yeah, Kazakhs is so strong. You can go for like that 5 mana potion, get some cards, or maybe even some minions revived or a board cleared. It's such a great card, especially in the mirror match.
Yeah, I think.
Oh.
Wow. Okay, so it turns out, if we're being very results oriented, it would have been the way to go to pick Mind Blast, just to give you the highest damage possible. Now that you've found Anduin, but actually, now that I say that, now that you've got the full combo, you can go for a 1 mana potion off Kazakas, which is probably about just as good as the Mind Blast anyway. If you can get damage off that 1 mana potion.
Yeah. Getting the damage from the 1 mana potion is so strong, especially because you can combo it with the Prophet Venom, so it will deal even a lot more damage and also reset your hero power again. It's such a strong addition to your combo. And for now, the question is, what is Krilly gonna do? Is he gonna save the coin for like the Anon? Is he gonna save the coin for Gadgetzan for some card drop? But he already gets the entire combo, so I don't think he has to go all off with the Gadgetzan. I think he's gonna save the coin for an additional 2 or even 4 damage if he finds that Prophet Venom. As we spoke before, he is going for that 1 mana potion, but he's not getting the best options though.
Yeah, I think it's a very good spot by you that you do want to be saving the coin here, because you've got pretty much every combo you need, and we could still see the coin being used for draw with the Auctioneer, but you want to save that until after you've played Anduin, because then you're getting a 2 damage every single time you cast a card as well. although both players got a good dollop of RNG here with getting one of the combo pieces at the start, it's just looking so good here, really.
He's getting rid of the Spirit Lash, otherwise he would have overdrawn, and something you don't want to do is overdraw your Prophet Felon at this point, because you're already so far ahead. You have the Raza already be played, you had an extra Kazakus, and now you're going to play the Enderman on 8 as well, while your opponent is only having the Enderman and not sitting on the Raza.
And the thing is as well, you don't really want to give your opponent the information that you have both the combo pieces in hand, because your opponent knows you have at the very least the coin in hand, so they know that if you are burning a card, you definitely have the Anduin in hand as well, and you don't really want to give them that information. So we now see the second Raza available.
Wow, Kree is getting all his combo parts so fast. He must be one happy Hearthstone player right now.
He doesn't look like it.
Yeah, pretty awful potion here for Krilly. Like, he got the AoE damage and some armor. That's exactly not what you want. The 4 additional health can actually help if your opponent is gonna fire off with the Enderman. But I don't think Matt the Great has the power now to kill Krilly anytime soon.
So yeah, just going with the Shadow Reaper Anduin here is Matt the Great. I agree, this is definitely the right play. You're killing a minion with which you're very unlikely to be doing most of the time anyway in the mirror, and you can just start weaving in some hero powers because you don't know that your opponent has the Anduin first. Unfortunately, as he realizes, he seems pretty upset by it.
Yeah, you see the look on the face of Matt the Great. Yeah, I can really understand his feeling. Like, you're playing such an important game, and the only thing you don't want to see in this mirror match is your opponent having Raza on 5 and Enderman on 8. And when it happens, you see the game going away for you. Like, you're already 1-0 behind, and then also your opponent's drawing Raza Enderman on 5 and 8. And as we look at Krilly's hand, he still has a great follow-up. He has the gadgets, and he can still get a lot of cards. He has a bunch of 1-mana spells. So it's definitely looking really good for Krilly right now. Matt the Great going for the Talnos Shadowed Horde to find his Raza as possible. Just not finding it.
Just nothing there. I mean, I like being aggressive with the draw and using cards that aren't important in the combo. Like, if he'd had to go Thalnos and Holy Smite, it would feel a lot less useful here. But the Shadowed Horror, at this point, your opponent doesn't need to play a single other minion to win the game. So that Shadowed Horror is essentially useless.
Yeah, Krilly is going for it. He's going for that gadget, and as we look in the hand of Matt the Great, he does not really have a proper answer for it. Yeah, he has the silence, but it's still a 4-4 sitting on the board, pushing some damage. Wow, and Krilly even finding the Kazakus here to find another 1 damage potion, for a 1 mana potion here.
I mean, I like just going with the spells here, especially because you draw another card when you play Power Word Shield as well. Just as long as he's firing off the hero powers between every single one here, I find it difficult to imagine that he's going to lose.
Yeah, Krilly is just looking for his Prophet Fella now to get insane amount of damages. But like, if he keeps firing like this, and he's definitely gonna like that's also a problem of playing Anduin. That's actually the only downside, is that you cannot heal yourself anymore. So every damage done here is just gonna be there. Yeah, of course, some priest players play priest with the sport great healing potion, but it's also two of the cards that are cut out of the list quite often.
Yeah, you're really relying on Greater Healing Potion or Priest of the Feast, depending on which one you run in your deck. Krilly with both options here, definitely the unfashionable deck list at the moment. People are definitely relying a lot more on Binding Heal over Greater Healing Potion at the moment. Because it's just a lot cheaper, you can cycle it with Auctioneer. So Krilly with what I would say is probably maybe not the most optimized deck, because if you are going with Gadgets and Auctioneer as one of the main ways to draw through your deck, I think you just want as many cheap cards as possible and turn them into value by drawing with the Auctioneer later on. But Matt the Great really wishing that he had a Greater Healing Potion here in this instance.
Yeah, definitely. And the question is, what is Matt the Great going to do? Is he going for the Gadgetzin, or is he going for the full board here? Whoa, he's going for Gadgetzin, but that means he cannot really deal with the board. I think you have to play Dragonfire Potion at this point. You cannot take another 7 damage from minions on board. Definitely. There he goes. Dragonfire Potion clears everything. Should we also play Galatasaray? No, he's more than a minion. Of course, it makes sense because you don't want to give your Potion of Madness targets. I think when the Potion of Madness is played, he will probably have all of that.
So just, as ever, just carrying on with what Krilly's game plan has been so far. I think you can go for a 5-mana potion here and feel pretty happy about it. If you can get draw off of that, it's fantastic. Yeah, it does go for that in the end.
It goes for 5 mana, yeah. Can understand because it can maybe deal more damage, but also resummon 2 minions when the Dragonfire potion already has been played. You already saw Shadowward Horror as well, so not a lot of board clears anymore. And Krilly is going for the 5 mana potion. What potion did he get? Yeah, summon it 2 and get some armor as well. Defending himself, gets average revive. That's Plaza and the Radiant Elemental. So
yeah, not bad. You were really looking for the Gadgets and the Auctioneer, obviously, as the best possible outcome. I'm trying to think, like, the Acolyte of Pain hasn't been played, so there weren't too many fantastic options, sorry, but yeah, Gadgets and Auctioneer would definitely have been the best one. And now with basically no way to heal in hand for Matt the Great, he's just at the mercy of whatever comes off of Lyra, and he's hoping to just get the most insane Lyra Radiant turn ever, it would seem.
yeah, what can actually save him? Yeah, he finds double silence, so that's a cycle. But ooh, Shadow Death is helping him a little bit. Goes for Radiant Elemental. Can he find the spells to clear everything? But he needs some heal as well. Finds Mind Blast. Can
he can get Spirit Lash here.
That would help. Not getting it here, but Circle of Healing. Can keep cycling. Probably gonna Mind Blast as well. Yeah, and now he has big trouble. He has no mana left. Yeah, he finds another silence. Not the card he was looking for, but yeah, what you said, he needed the Spirit Lash or something like that. And there is the well played and the concede. 2-0 for Krilly.
And there we see it. It's just, yeah, just going to be the concede there. There's nothing that could have been done, bringing Krilly up 2 games to 0. Kind of unfortunate that, as you so often see in the Kazakus Priest mirrors, it's just whoever gets the Raza Anduin first puts themselves in such a dominant position. There were a couple of turns for Matt the Great where, you know, if he'd drawn the Raza in the next couple of cards, he could definitely have maybe mounted a comeback. But it just wasn't there because he didn't have any healing or that much draw either. So Krilly just running away with the game and left with only the Mystery Mage to take a win with.
Yeah, you saw it at the reaction of Matt the Great's face when the Anduin came down on turn 8. He was so disappointed. Like, he had a pretty decent hand. He found that Anduin from the Cabal career to get this combo early, but he didn't find any combo part. He didn't find his own Anduin. He didn't find the Raza. He didn't find the Prophet Felon. They were all in the bottom 10 cards of his deck. And if he could have found them earlier, yeah, he would have been in a great spot. And as we spoke before, there is the Quest Mage. I'm really curious if Krilly can take the win here.
Okay, I'm gonna have to. I haven't done much Quest Mage casting recently, and I've been pretty thankful for that because I absolutely bloomin' hate this deck. I think it's such a nightmare to play against. It feels like after turns like 7 or something, there's nothing you can do because either they freeze you for a bunch of turns and draw the combo, or they don't, and that's just how the game goes.
Yeah, I have to say, I've seen a lot of Quest Mage lately in other tournaments, but I also saw some other lists with like Jaina and Giants, but as we can see at the, we see Sorcerer's Apprentice, so it's definitely gonna be the Antonidas Quest Mage here. Question is, what are you going for? Doomsayer completely denying the aggression of the Hunter here. He can still go for like Deadly Shot to protect his 3 minion, and I think you really want to protect your minion here, especially with that double Hound Master, and you want to push as much damage as possible. And I think Hunter is really favored in this matchup, but as we spoke before, the Quest Mage is so good against the Druid and the Priest, so Krilly has such a great shot of winning this match.
And I guess Matt just trying to take the most, as you said, the most favorable matchup first. Control mages in general, which I'm kind of classing Quest Mage in. It's obviously more of a combo deck than a control deck, but for the first few turns, it's just trying to control the board and stay alive. Hunter's had an interesting relationship with with kind of control mage decks because very often, you know, you think, oh, the hero power that's coming in every single turn will just close out the game. But now that you've got like Alexstrasza, Ice Block, Ice Barrier, and especially Frostlich Jaina, there are a lot of ways to just deny the potential for that hero power to close out the game every turn, which ends up in an interesting spot where the Hunter does have to get either very aggressive starts or very sticky boards that the mage just can't deal with, even with things like Frostnova Doomsayer.
Yeah, Krilly is in a pretty bad spot right now. Yeah, there's a bunch of cards. He has the Ice Block, but he cannot really deal with this board. And there's already 9 damage on the board. There's already 8 damage done as well. So it looks pretty good for Matt the Great. But as we said, like the Hunter is so good against the Quest Mage. They have so much early aggression. They have so much damage. And the Quest Mage needs a lot of turns. And also that hero power helping a lot. The Mage cannot just freeze the board and deny damage. Because there's just a hero power dealing 2 damage every single turn. Even when you freeze everything.
So using up the coin here, which is, I would actually estimate, a pretty valuable resource, because if you're having to go for stuff like Arcane Intellect, that's using up a lot of your mana, so being able to go on the following turn, Arcane Intellect, Coin Frost Nova, something like that could be really useful to slow down the Hunter. But I think I can agree, it's so important to keep your health total high at the early games, that 1 mana gain 9 health is probably worth the investment.
Yeah, the big question is here, what are you going for? Are you going for the Pyrrhotide Hydra or even the second Houndmaster? But you could also decide to go for Bow Hero Power to maximize the damage.
Ah, that's true.
But yeah, also playing a minion here is pretty strong. It puts up for a pretty good board. But you also know, you saw Doomsayer on turn 2, but most of the times Doomsayer Frost Nova on turn 5 is really relevant here. And yeah, he's going for it. He's going for the hero power. He wants to maximize his damage here.
I think in this instance, I probably would have preferred going for the mint development instead. Because the thing is, even if they have Frost Nova Doomsayer, you have so much refill afterwards. And if they don't have it, on the following turn, you can still follow up with Bow Hero Power, and you're going to be pushing forward way more damage. Whereas at the moment, 9 damage on board may be enough, but maybe through some small removal spells, they'll be able to keep your board clean enough to survive a couple of extra turns.
Really going for a Novice Engineer. Is he gonna find a freeze here? No, but he finds Ice Barrier, so that's at least 1 turn he gets here. And also has an Ice Block in hand, not really doing that much against Hunter because of that hero power. Maybe he can find something really insane with that Babbling Book, something like a Blizzard or a Flame Strike,
Right.
but he's only on 5 mana, so he needs a bunch of extra time here, but he finds it with the Ice Barrier. So probably gonna be played here, and let's see what Matt the Great is going to do here.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with playing the Ice Barrier, because later on in the game, it's just not going to matter. Hero Power will pop the block every turn for Matt the Great until he wins the game. Unless something like Alexstrasza or Frostlit Jaina is in the deck, which I have seen played around with in Quest Mage, but overall I can agree it's probably not quite worth it.
Yeah, it's pretty fun to see that Matt the Great is sticking to his plan by not playing the high main here, but just going for the Houndmaster hero power to, to again maximize the damage here. And Great is already on 7 HP, so he only has like 4 or 5 more turns, because Matt the Great is definitely going to hero power every single turn. So Krill is at the point now that he has to remove everything on the board and has to develop something like an Ice Block or something like an extra Ice Barrier. But I don't think Matt the Great has to attack anymore. I think his hero power will just do the job here.
I mean, I think for Krilly, should you not have gone for Arcane Intellect there to try and find a Frost Nova?
Yeah, possible.
Probably felt like your highest chance of coming back here, because if you can freeze the board, I think that's the only chance of winning. Because if you're just relying on Ice Block on turn 6, you know that the Hunter will be popping you every single turn. I just don't think this is a path to victory.
Yeah, Matt the Great can just proc him on 1 now, and now he just only has to press the hero power every single turn to win this game.
Yep.
So, yeah, this is going to be it. Yeah, really does not even have the second Ice Rock or something to heal himself. They don't play Alexstrasza or something, but he's only on 7 mana. So even if he had Alexstrasza, he couldn't even play.
Yeah, so I think the main thing here for Matt the Great, all he really needs to be worrying about is not playing the Bittertide Hydra, because then that maybe opens some kind of stupid, cheesy way of the Mage closing out the game with pure damage. But even then, that's just, it's a bit of a fantasy, if I'm honest.
And there is the last Ice Block, the second one for Krilly. Maybe he can find another one with Cabalist Tomb next turn, but then still, he cannot win this game. He doesn't have any parts of the copper, he doesn't have his quest finished. Like, he only has the Apprentice and 1 Molten Reflection and Antonius, but he still needs another Apprentice and another Molten Reflection. And he needs to finish his quest, so that's not possible in 1 single turn.
Does the Mage have a secret in play at the moment? Because it looked like the Ice Block was in the place where the second secret goes.
I don't think so.
Trying to remember, maybe not. Oh no, sorry, it's the quest, of course. Sorry, my mistake.
The quest are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just over. Yeah.
So Great coming back a little bit in this game. So he has to beat the Quest Mage 3 times. He did it once, but now the most difficult part is going to be happening. Like the Priest and the Druid are so bad against Quest Mage.
That's right.
But definitely not undoable because like Quest Mage is one of those decks that's not really consistent. So while Druid and Priest always have like a pretty decent hand, and they also have like a pretty straightforward plan. Especially Druid, they just ramp, summon a bunch of big Jades, and win the game from that point on. If the Quest Mage doesn't find any freezes or some card draw, they're gonna be in a really bad spot to win against Druid.
I mean, we could see a similar game plan from the Druid that we saw here from the Hunter. If, as you said, you're curving out with Jade Blossom, Jade Spirit, Aya, Jade Behemoth, all that stuff to just get the quickest, strong board possible, the Mage can still find itself in a situation where, unless it's freezing everything every turn, the Druid Hero Power or Swipe will be closing out the game every single turn, and there's just nothing that can be done from the Mage.
Oh wow, the quest is even completed, so probably he's gonna play that quest. Maybe he can actually do something here. Not 100% sure. Not sure if he has any outs. At the Great, maybe he's thinking, whoa, is there some kind of way I'm still losing this game? Oh, he finds.
I mean, maybe if it was exactly Sorcerer's Apprentice there, you could have gone Sorcerer's Apprentice, cheap spells on, and then go for double Blizzard off the top, something like that. But I agree, it was such a fast shot. I don't think there was anything that could pull the Mage back there.
Me neither. It's just maybe tilting Matt the Great a little bit,
Right,
like,
sure.
yeah, I'm still gonna win this one, but not happening. And I'm curious if Krilly can take the win with the Mage against the Druid and Priest. It should be happening because both matches are pretty favored for the Mage. But as we already said, Druid and Priest are such strong decks. They can win actually against everything.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, for the Priest and for the Mage, they are decks that rely very strongly on single cards, and they use a lot of card draw to get there. So for Matt the Great, you've got to, there's a chance that you can just have Raza and Anduin on curve, and your opponent has Antonidas as the bottom card, and then you just win. There's always a way that you can pull it out just based on the luck of the draw, even if you ignore the way that both players will be playing.
Exactly. But as we see, Krilly already having a pretty okay hand. He can keep the Archaeologist. Can also decide to keep both combo parts. Like, the thing is, you have so many time against Priest, maybe you just keep your combo parts, but you also want to finish your quest as soon as possible. So mulligan some cards away, looking for that card draw, looking for those random spells is also a good plan here by Krilly.
So a decent hand to get things going for Krilly. You've got the Archaeologist into a secret. You've got a bit of draw there. You can go for the Ghastly Conjurer to get some more spells going towards the completion of the quest. Pretty decent way to start off. For the Priest, however, distinctly less so. You really don't need any of these removal spells at all. You're literally just looking for Raza and Anduin along with some draw.
Yeah, and Matt the Great already playing his Shadow Visions here, not waiting for it later on in the game to find something useful, like finding a second Mind Blast. Of course, he drawn it already, but maybe you save the Mind Vision of the Shadow Visions to find something later on in the game, and not just play it on turn 2.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, he's clearly mapping out his game plan already, just hoping probably won't be able to get in much damage with minions, but just going for the highest amount of damage with Raza and Anduin once that's drawn as possible. He probably would have taken Power Word Shield if that was there to give him the highest amount of draw, but given that that wasn't an option, just going with the highest amount of damage instead.
Oh, that would be so great if Matt the Great could find an Ice Block there, because if he can find the Ice Block, he cannot pull off his combo, because it's an OTK. You kill him in one turn, but you can't because there's the Ice Block. You will be left with 1 HP, and that would be such a difference. But Matt the Great finds the Ghastly Conjurer, not the card he was hoping for.
I just realized there's a rainbow outside my window.
Oh,
that's nice. A little bit of Captain Pride. Sorry, just it's always worth mentioning when you see a rainbow.
Yeah, is it?
Yeah, it's a nice sight. It's something to brighten up your day.
Yeah.
You're not a fan of rainbows?
Sorry.
Not a fan of rainbows?
Because rainbows are a part of rain, and I don't.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. I mean, it's England, so that's just like breathing. Like it's everywhere.
The same for Holland, man. Same
Right,
for Holland.
okay.
Okay, let's jump back in the game. It's like Matt the Great again not finding any of his combo parts. No Raza, no enemies. Can still top deck them, of course, but it's so frustrating if you play a deck where you rely on 2 cards that you have to draw. Just not drawing them. He had like last game was like 20 or 25 cards in his deck and didn't draw a single combo. Of course, he got the Anduin, but it was from the Cabal Courier.
Yeah.
And now again, it's 10, 12 cards in and still not finding a single combo.
I guess to his credit, it could turn around pretty quickly because he's got a deck dedicated to as much draw as possible. He's running the Gadget Zan, and I would very much imagine all the other draw cards like Loot Order, Gnomish Inventor, Novice Engineer, Acolyte of Pain, all that good stuff to try and get you to the combo as quickly as you possibly can. And as soon as he does find the Gadget Zan Auctioneer, it could be pretty good with the Mirror Entity and the Smite just to cycle as aggressively as possible. He's got a good shot to find his combo pieces at some point. Oh no, wait, so he's not running Gadgets and Auctioneer. It was his opponent. I'm really, really sorry.
Yeah, Matt the Great was also playing it. We saw it in his
Oh,
hand.
you're right. Okay, so he's running Show's list. Yeah, he's Show posted a list I saw the other day for his qualifier, where he is running the Prophet Velen, where he's running Gadgets and Auctioneer and Lyra. Sorry.
I would have loved that Matt the Great have played like Lyra on turn 5, because you play against Quest Mage. They don't play Fireball, they don't play Frostbolt, they don't play any of those kind of cards. If you just drop down the Lyra, they have literally no way of dealing with it. And if they go like Frost Nova Doomsayer, you can just go full crazy with all the spells. It's just like, you have to recognize what can actually kill it, and why is he holding on to it. Like, Lyra is definitely not going to win you the game here.
That's fair. I actually would have liked that, especially because you have Radiant Elemental as well. So on the following turn, you could just go completely nuts with all your cheap spells.
Yeah, but he can still go for it, right? Like, he can make some value trades, and just play the Lyra, maybe even with the mirror images, to already get at least one spell. But I really like if he goes for the Lyra here. There's just no removal in the quest mate. They don't have the frostbolts and the fireballs.
And what else are you going to be doing on this turn? You have to do something at least kind of proactive. Yeah, he's realizing it. There's nothing the quest mage can do. And I can respect this a lot.
And I would have loved, if he goes face here. Yeah, definitely want to put as much damage as possible. Unfortunately, the ice barrier is there, so 8 additional health for Krilly, but going face here is so important. You have to hammer the mage down as fast as possible. And there's a Doomsayer, but no freeze yet for Krilly.
The thing is, you have to notice though, but by going face with all the non-Lyra minions, he has opened himself up to Blizzard, clearing off this mirror images and allowing the mage to kill off the Lyra. So do you still think it's worth going face even when your opponent could kill off everything with Blizzard?
Oh yeah, that's a good one, yeah. Yeah, maybe I should have traded 1 minion so your Lyra is at least safe for Blizzard. But if we look at Krilly's hand now, he finds Molten Reflection, another one. And I would definitely go for that, because then you only need 1 Sorcerer's Apprentice, not 2.
Well, you only need 1 Sorcerer's Apprentice anyway, because you've got the Simulacrum as well.
Oh yeah, true. I already got it in hand, right? Yeah, so he's going for the 0 mana spell because he wants to probably finish his quest as soon as possible. He's also sitting on the Cabinet Tomb, so there's like a big chance he's gonna finish it soon.
If he'd gone with the Arcane Explosion, though, I think he would still have been 1 damage off clearing the Lyra. So, yeah.
And look at this order
for the freezing potion.
Krilly is, yeah, a little bit sad now because he played the Babbling Book last, and seeing that he finds the Volcanic Potion, he must be really sad now. He could have cleared everything. He could have gone for like Volcanic Potion, trade into the Lyra and ping it off.
That's true. That would have been sick.
Rule number 1 in Hearthstone.
You would have killed your own 1 mana minion. Your
but
own
you
1.
had a ping left. You had 6 mana. So you could play 1 mana Babbling Book, 3 mana Volcanic Potion, and then 1 damage ping.
Enough.
And now he's giving so many extra spells for free. So.
And now the Mind Blast coming in big here, just being able to cycle through it while also dealing some damage. I said it wasn't actually going to be able to happen for the priest here, but the priest is actually getting in a very good amount of minion damage. This is crazy.
Yeah, and he finds another Mind Blast. He already had one from the Shadow Vision, and now he has another one from the Lyra. Oh man, so much damage going on, and this is exactly what we said. The priest, if he finds a lot of damage, definitely win against Quest Mage. Look at this. The Quest Mage is already on 11 HP, and even the enemy is played. But that's the thing. Krillin got punished so hard for not killing the Lyra and not playing the Babbling Book first, but finds the Blizzard now, can go for a board clear. Can also decide to go for Volcanic Potion this turn and go for like a Blizzard Doomsayer play in the next turn. But if you play Blizzard now and clear everything, you're gonna save your. You cannot clear everything off with the Volcanic. You have to put it here.
Yeah, maybe considering here that it might be worth just leaving the Lyra alive because your opponent's already made the first spell. Maybe they just end up filling their hand with junk. But I think I can probably agree overall it's worth just killing it off, making sure that nothing else ridiculous like more Mind Blast comes down.
Yeah, the quest is on 3 spells, so it's getting close to be finished. Yeah, Magic Great does not have a proper answer to kill it. You can go for like the Hero Power Holy Nova, but that's not really optimal.
I've got to ask as well, do you just play mind games here and try and get Antonidas from your opponent's deck? Because that would be insane.
There's not a lot of minions in the deck.
There's not that many.
No, there's like quite a big chance. You already saw Ghastly Conjurer and Double Doomsayer as well. So there's not a lot of minions left in the deck. If Matt the Great pulls off this play and finds it, I'm going full crazy. That would be the sickest thing ever happen in ours.
I mean,
he's thinking about it.
For it. Come on, please do it, Matt. Make our day.
He's going for it. Is he gonna find it? No, he finds Doomsayer himself. That would be such a great thing.
Definitely not.
But still, the mage on 7 HP. But yeah, there's no direct damage anymore for Matt the Great. So really, he's definitely gonna get a bunch of turns here. Going for the draw, I would love to see Cabinet's Tomb here over the Arcane Intellect. You want to finish the quest, you need those random spells. Also, of course, you need those combo parts. So I can understand Arcane Intellect here.
And for Matt the Great, while his last crazy, because while the Lyra is up, every single one of his spells was doing something. Now he's got no draw left in his hand, no way to even discover or generate more cards. So at the moment, he's relying on what he's got and what's off the top of the deck, which is not looking that great.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Magic Great not having a really good hand. He has the Dragon Firebow, Shadow Death, Spirit Lash. All cards are so useless against the Quest Mage. Spice Potion of Math is also a card you're not looking for, but you can just go for like the Raza here, do yourself back up, maybe go even for Embrace the Shadow, like Binding Heal, Embrace the Shadow, go for like, oh no, Embrace the Shadow, I thought it was Forbidden Shaping. Never mind.
So it's worth mentioning that there's 4 points worth of damage of Burst in Matt the Great's hand with Holy Nova and Embrace Shadows and Hero Power. But obviously that's not getting the job done quite yet. So I like saving that Burst potential for a little bit longer.
You can also go Embrace the Shadow, go Binding Heal on the 2/6, but you're also dealing damage to yourself. So it's not really what you want here. Nope, he's going just for the 2 damage. Maybe go for Pyromancer to have like an extra beam on board.
I'm not sure how much I like doing this right now because there's no reason to not do it a little bit later on down the line. And maybe you can get it on the same turn as a Gadgets and Auctioneer off the top, something like that, to really amp up the amount of damage you're dealing. And you might want to go for the Binding Heal on the same turn as it anyway, just to target a must-kill minion.
Krillin is going for the Catalyst Tomb here. Once that random spells, he really needs to... oh wow, and he finds 3 secrets. And that's going to be so hard for Matt the Great to play around. Probably going for the Mana Bind here, can maybe find another spell. But if you go for Mana Bind here, you're going to overdraw if your opponent plays a spell. So you cannot really go for that line of play. He's going for Frost Nova to defend his life total a little bit. He's only on 5 HP, but Matt the Great only has the Holy Nova's extra there. But finds the Kazakus. And that can actually seal the deal if he finds the damage.
Yeah, do you just go 5 mana and just try and hit the damage? He's going for 1 mana.
Wow.
Do you like this?
Yeah, it's 3 damage, and together with the Holy Nova, it's also a proc. And he finds it. He finds it 3 damage, and he has exactly 6 mana, so he can proc the Ice Block here. That's so huge for Matt the Great. And as you can see in Krilli's hand, there's no second Ice Block, so.
Oh. You want to go for the Holy Nova second, don't you? Because all your minions are going to be damaged. I think.
I think you want to deal 3 damage first because it's easier to do damage. Since you have cards like Holy Smite and also Anduin insta wins you the game. But they can also get Doomsayer. No, he didn't. Could have get Doomsayer out of the summon.
Getting the Lyra is pretty damn good. Interesting to note the interaction. It doesn't generate a spell of the one that was actually played. But if he'd gone for the Lyra first, he would have got a spell off of the Holy Nova.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that interaction is fixed probably a couple of weeks ago, I think.
So I think a slight misplay because his minions are damaged one more than they needed to be.
Yeah.
But now he just needs to find a source of 3 damage. So Mind Blast would be enough to close out the game here. But having said that, I say just 1 more piece of damage. That's a pretty tall order, and there's very few cards in the priest deck that are actually going to be doing that.
Oh wow, and it's really going off with the combo. He's going for it. Yeah, he got of course 5 Sorcerer's Apprentices, so
wow,
there's like a big chance he's gonna finish the quest here.
I mean,
5 Sorcerer's Apprentices with the Cabinet's Tomb in hand, with a bunch of secrets. This is just crazy. And also remember, this Sorcerer's Apprentice with the Ghastly Conjurer is already 70 damage. So
that's true.
If he can find another 8, he's definitely gonna win this game.
3 more secrets there as well, so he's going to be able to complete the quest nice and easy. Play it for 0 mana, and I mean, you've just got to go for it here, haven't you? Just pray you get Antonidas or some draw, or some freeze maybe off the top, something to stop your opponent from killing this board. But we can see with Dragonfire in hand, unless Krilly wins the game here, it's over.
Does he find it? No, he finds Frostova. And all of a sudden, Krilly is in a really bad spot here. I'm not really sure why he already went off with the combo, since he could have just freeze the board and wait another turn. There was like no need to go for it right now, but maybe he's thinking, yeah, if there's no board clear, I'm just gonna win. Just empty it down with like Sorcerer Apprentices.
I mean, this is the main benefit of Matt the Great's play that I didn't even realize, is just the scare factor. He's clearly afraid of there being, Shadow Reaper Anduin off the top, Mind Blast off the top, just something to close out the game. And it's worked because all of a sudden, Matt the Great is Krilly was so afraid that Matt the Great can go for a spell here to try and proc the counter spell that may be in play, and then just follow up with Dragonfire Potion and close out the game.
And he finds Spirit Lash for the mana bind. No counter spell. Good that Matt the Great was testing it though, but I'm still really curious why Krilly went for the combo this turn. Like, there was no need to. He could have just freezed the board. Having 3 health was kinda safe since there was like no Anduin. There's like Holy Smite is not losing you the game. Also, like Holy Nova was played, Mind Blast was already played, so a lot of things could have happened.
I mean, clearly he was just fine. He thought he was in such a bad spot that he had to go for, the random chance that he would get Antonidas off the top, and it absolutely has not worked out. He has effectively thrown the game.
Yeah, he is probably no out of winning here. Yeah, of course you can still win by like maybe Antonidas Frost Nova, but we already see the Shadow Death in the hand of Matt the Great, and I think Matt the Great must be pretty happy that the entire combo of the questmate has already been played. The Time Warp is gone, all the apprentices are gone, only the Antonidas is left, and you have the answer for the Antonidas. And also, really not sitting on an ice block, so if Matt the Great finds that 3 damage, he instantly wins the game.
So yeah, doing a nice job of activating the mana bind here, I guess. I mean, the thing is, this is a completely pointless use of. Well, actually, I suppose it can activate the paper as well. It was a fairly pointless use of the Potion of Mana. The main benefit is just to try and churn through some of these secrets, which he has actually done a pretty good job of.
Ooh, and there's the Antonidas. Can play 2. Can actually play 2 spells with it, so he generates 2 fireballs. That's pretty good here, but it's not gonna be enough.
Yeah. I mean, just because we could see, the Priest of the Feast, even now with the Silence as well to cross things off, it's just the Antonidas has gone, so the body doesn't mean anything. Going to be getting way out of range of 2 fireballs. I just don't see a way that could take this back.
Yeah, Matt the Great can just easily heal up to 30 health, also with the Binding Heal in his hand. Like, it's another 8-10 health with the hero power as well. this looks pretty good for Metagrade. And I think Creely completely threw the game by going for the combo there, yeah. And if he waited for like 1 or 2 extra turns, like, as we see, Metagrade didn't find any damage, and Creely find the Antonidas. So that's, I don't know, man. If he just waited a little bit longer, he probably would have won the game. He had the Antonidas. So
your main criticism there, I suppose, is you have a higher chance that your opponent doesn't have a way of killing you than you have a chance of getting Antonidas on the very next turn after you go for Sorcerer's Apprentices.
the thing is, if you go with the Apprentices, you have to get the Antonidas the next turn. But
Yeah.
you were like not even close to dying, since there's like, you already saw direct damage. You already saw the Holy No God, and like there was like Holy Smite maybe that was like 2 damage. So I don't know. But maybe he was like, yeah, I don't have Ice Block. Maybe there's like Anduin or something. I have to go for it right now. I have to take a little bit of a risk and to take this game. But didn't work out for him. And now it's 2-2. Metagrade completely coming back into this game. And is there a chance that he's going to reverse sweep on the Quest Mage? While the Quest Mage should have had 2 favorite matchups. We will see in a couple of seconds, I think.
I mean, we were saying from Crilly that we questioned his game plan, but I think we can both agree from Matt the Great, that was just an absolutely fantastically played game there. He knew that he was going in unfavored, so just going for minion damage, taking the Mind Blast right out the gate, worked so well for him because Crilly just lost the game of chicken, and he went for his big combo way too soon and ended up losing for it. So I was very impressed with Matt the Great in that game.
And also, pretty unfortunate for Crilly here that he does not start with the coin, because the coin is also a random and another spell what's not in your deck, so that adds 1 extra counter on your quest. So it's so huge to have the coin here. But pretty good hand for Crilly anyway. He's having the double Babbling Book and the Primordial Glyph, so I think he's going to be pretty happy. And Meteor out of the Babbling Book can be pretty useful later on in the game to remove a bunch of those big Jade cards of Metagrade.
So from Matt the Great, though, he kept on the mulligan the Jade Spirit, which, although it obviously curves out very nicely after coin Jade Blossom, do you think that's a good enough card to keep early on, or are you much more aggressively looking for some of your other ramp and more powerful cards like Aya or Ultimate Infestation?
If you already have the ramp, you're definitely going to keep Jade Spirit because it just curves out so well. And also, you don't really have another play on turn 4, so if you can just curve out with ramp into Jade Spirit, keep your Jades already going a little bit, like, it's such a great start. It's like on turn 2 you already have like 2 Jades, and if you can find like Aya or JB Heyman afterwards, it's gonna be so much stronger than just playing an Aya with a 1/1 Jade. Hard choice here for Crilly. Can go for like a Flame Strike to get some extra time, but also go for Simulacrum to complete his combo earlier. But if you go for Flame Strike, you also have those high mana random spells. You actually want those low mana random spells, so you can finish the quest a little bit easier. So he goes for Simulacrum, maybe even decides to play it next turn to get like another Babbling Book and go for like double Babbling Book next turn.
Yeah, I definitely agree with going for the Simulacrum there. This feels like the more versatile of the plays. As you said, you can copy Babbling Book. We could see copying for draw with something like Novice Engineer. You don't have to save it for the Sorcerer's Apprentice in the Absolute Freeze.
Exactly. And look at the draw of Matt the Great. He has the Jade Spear, but he finds the Aya as well. That's such a huge pickup there, because now he can just curve out so well in those Jades, and Crilly is gonna have a hard time to deal with it, especially because he didn't took the Flame Strike there, but the Simulacrum. So not a lot of removal in the deck of Mage. They have a bunch of freezes, but they don't really have those big AoEs as Flame Strike.
So just a pretty easy game plan to get things going for Matt, at least. With the Maya Keeper, that does change things. Do you just go... I mean, yeah, I think you just go for Aya next turn. It's such a powerful play. It means you don't have to make a rubbishy turn 4.
Yeah, it's pretty good here from Matt the Great. Yeah, you can also decide to go like Jade Spirit, Market Lows, but just dropping down Aya on turn 6 is the way you want to play this game. Especially because Aya gives your Jades +2/+2 in your deck, so that's such a huge buff.
I love the way you say buff. Boof.
I'm from Holland, man.
Yeah, no, it's nice. It's like ordering steak in a French restaurant.
Aww. Oof. Yeah. Probably gonna hear it a lot more.
Yeah. I hope so.
Yeah, because he still has a lot of buff cards in his in his
Sorry.
deck with the Mark of the Lotus.
What cards was that? Sorry, Mongoloid?
The buff cards.
Yeah, whatever. Deny me what I want to hear. So, by going for the Babbling Book, throwing away the versatility of Simulacrum, but I think he's probably starting to realize now that he's got Antonidas in hand, he's really going to be wanting to copy a Sorcerer's Apprentice, because then he only has to get a couple more ways to generate more here through the Sorcerer's Apprentice itself, or through the Molten Reflection to try and get that combo going real quick. And obviously something like the Kabbalist Tome as well will be a really nice way to get that quest completed, while he's also got the Sorcerer's Apprentice and Antonidas.
Yeah, look at this. Malfurion already coming out. Of course, it's pretty important to have Malfurion because it's an extra 3 damage every single turn, and it's so huge because like you want to rush down the mage as fast as possible, and the Malfurion hero power helps with that so well. 3 damage every turn is a lot.
That's fair. I've got to be honest, I was thinking about going for something like Aya Wild Turn to lead you into an earlier Ultimate Infestation. But I think you're right. Going for the hero power early would be really nice. And Ultimate Infestation, having it as early as possible, isn't that crucial in this matchup, I don't think. Like, having it a turn later, you're not going to die before then. And you just need to be putting on the pressure to their face as much as possible every turn.
Definitely. Matt the Great is also a pretty good hand. Like, he can go for the Medivh next turn. And
yeah.
Medivh into Ultimate Infestation is one of the biggest things you can ever play. Like getting an additional 10 drop out of the Ultimate Infestation. That's all. Like Ultimate Infestation is already one of those cards that is insanely overpowered. And if you get like an extra 10 drop, that's just crazy.
It turns out that if you stick a Tyrantus onto that card, it becomes slightly more powerful, one may say.
Just a little. Yeah, it's crazy. Oh wow, and he's not deciding to go for it. Maybe he wants to go Wild Growth here and play maybe even Mark of the Lotus. No, God. Yeah. I really like how Matt the Great plays. Like, his strategy every single game has been the same. Also with the Hunter, doing every single turn hero power to deal damage. And this time again, not changing his plan. With the Hunter, he used the hero power after turn and is probably gonna do it with the Druid. Now he has Malfurion as well. So I really like it when people play so consistently and stick to the game plan every single game.
Yeah, that really has seemed to me to be Matt the Great's greatest asset so far. Is just great matchup awareness with be it the Priest, the Druid, or the Hunter playing so aggressive, using the hero power for damage as much as possible. Be it Steady Shot, the 3 damage off the Druid here, or even using Embrace the Shadows to target the face every turn with the hero power as the 3.
Yeah, it's just really important to possible and kill the quest mage as soon as possible because you cannot really give them a lot of time. If you give them like 3 or 4 more turns, that can actually be the turns that they draw the combo, and then you're gonna be dead because you cannot defend yourself against the combo. It's just an OTK. It doesn't matter if you have like 20, 10, or even 200 health. You're just gonna die by infinite fireballs.
Well, that's not true. We have seen some fatigue warriors some fatigue warriors getting to the point where the mage doesn't actually have time to target enough fireballs to face. I think it's about the 200 mark where your APM can't actually be high enough to kill your opponent.
Maybe a StarCraft player can pull it out, but
okay,
probably not Hearthstone players.
We definitely know that Show wouldn't be able to do it at least.
Yeah. Or Forsen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. It's actually pretty sick that you need some APM in a card game. It wasn't with the Patron Warrior as well. They had some of those turns that you had to... Yeah. And then they took off 20 seconds of your turn, so hard.
Yeah, that was obviously just to nerf Patron Warrior.
Yeah, I thought it was actually meant to nerf Patron Warrior. I'm not 100% sure. It was a little bit of a meme back then, but... Nerf Patron, remove time from your turn. Yeah.
So on this turn, we do see the potential for an Ice Block pop, even just what is represented on board and with the hero power. So still looking to be pretty good for Matt the Great. His aggressive turns, turn after turn, working out very, very nicely for him. Just to keep making sure he's popping each Ice Block that comes down from Corelli, because there very possibly could be more than 2 after the Kabbalist Tome comes down. But he's still looking to be in an all-right spot, even if that does happen.
And you can even proc him on 1. It looks so good for Matt the Great right now. Really does have the second ice block, but does not have any single combo part. Yeah, he has the Antonize, he has the Mold Reflection and the Simulacrum, but he does not have the Apprentice. But can go for like ice block, Cabinet Tomb, but how far is he on the quest? Like 2 or 3 cards? Oh, and there's the Apprentice!
Okay, so he can wait a turn because he's got the ice block, but then I think after that you have to just go for it.
Yeah, I think he can do it. I'm not 100% sure. I can go for Simulacrum right now, go for the ice block as well. This is such a huge draw for Krilly. Can he put it off? Yes. Oh man, I think it's gonna be enough though. I'm not 100% sure. Oh man, this is so huge.
I mean, he has to get another way of generating Sorcerer's Apprentices. He's only got 3 of them, so we'd have to get the Molten Reflections off the top or another Simulacrum.
Oh, and I like Matt Gray playing Spreading Plague here. Also denies some attacks from the Sorcerer's Apprentice if he goes for like an Apprentice combo. Yeah, and Krilly is shaking his head. He knows it. It's not enough. I think it's gonna be 28 damage with 3 Apprentices, so I'm not 100% sure. I thought it was 28 damage. 3 fireballs and 3 apprentices, 27. But there's a taunt in the way, so it's gonna be 21 damage. It's not gonna be enough. So I think Matt the Great is actually gonna take this game. But if he finds another ice block with the time warp, then he can actually still make it.
I mean, if he finds another another apprentice or just another Molten Reflections, then he does have the full combo, and because he's held back the Cone of Cold, he has a spell to activate that with as well.
What is he gonna draw? This he didn't do it. It's not going to be enough. Yeah, and that's gonna be it. And Matt the Great is going to the final. Look how happy he is.
Oh. Congratulations. I have to say, Krilly's pick of Quest Mage was just looking a bit too shaky there. The draws weren't necessarily on his side, but to be honest, they weren't that bad either. He got really close to doing the combo every turn, and I think Matt the Great just knew a little bit too well how you target Quest Mage and just completely destroy it in the early stages of the game.
Yeah, we have to say, Matt the Great played so well throughout the series, like knowing how to win the game, going for that hero power every single turn, putting as much damage as possible, put the pressure on Krilly, and Krilly just couldn't find all the combo parts, and that's the problem with Quest Mage. What we spoke about before the match. Like if it's Quest Mage, it's so hard to pull off the combo. You need like 6 or 7 cards. Yeah, and if one of those is on the bottom of your deck, you're just gonna lose the game.
And so now, as you said earlier, Matt the Great has already qualified to go to Barcelona because there are 2 spots open for the Denmark qualifiers. So we'll be deciding in the next semi-final who will be progressing with him, be it William, who you will know if you are if you're a regular at Tyler's Twitch channel, or Nikolai Hoy, not the Hoy you're thinking of. I believe it is his twin brother or just his brother. And it will be very cool to see one of those making it through to Barcelona as well. And then we will have the finals, I think, to decide who gets the better seeding. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the second semi-final to decide who's going to Barcelona after this quick break.
World Electronic Sports Games returns with a new season, the largest championship among national teams in the history of esports. Dota 2, Hearthstone, CSGO, StarCraft 2, and $5.5 million at stake. European finals will be held in marvelous Barcelona from the 22nd to the 26th of November. Win your slot in the finals of the World Championship. Register right now.
Okay, guys. 20 seconds. We'll start this video as usual.
World Electronic Sports Games returns with a new season, the largest championship
20
among
seconds.
national teams in the history of esports. Dota 2, Hearthstone, CSGO, StarCraft 2, and $5.5 million at stake. European finals will be
10
held in
seconds.
marvelous Barcelona from the 22nd to the 26th of November. Win your slot in the finals of
5,
the World Championship.
4,
Register right now.
2, 1, and live.
Greetings, everybody, and welcome back to the WESG Hearthstone Denmark General Qualifiers. We just had the first semi-final between Krilly and Matt the Great, which saw his slightly more aggressive lineup and playstyle bring him through to a victory. And now we've got the second semi-final, which will also be deciding who goes through to Barcelona. Once again, there are 2 qualifier slots for Denmark, so just winning this semi-final will see one of these players through to Barcelona. And it is going to be between William and Nikolai Hoy.
Yeah, pretty fun to say. Like, Nikolai Hoy is the twin brother or just the brother of the world, actually the summer world champion.
Spring.
Hoy, or spring champion,
Yeah.
Hoy. So it's pretty funny that both players actually doing great. And if Nikolai can actually win right now, he can maybe be as good as his twin brother. And then they have like I don't know. Oh,
Wow.
whoa! Look at
They
this.
really do look quite similar.
Oh man, is it not the real Hoy?
The real Hoy. This is the real Hoy. It's just a different real Hoy.
Oh man, this is gonna have so much confusion.
It's also nice to see as well because William is often bullied in Tyler's chat for being a baby. It's nice to see he is actually, I think, 16.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
pretty fun.
it's not.
He's
good
even
to
younger, maybe.
Say young, but
Yeah, the first time I played him was like I played against William, and he was like that was 2 years ago on DreamHack, I think,
Right. Okay.
and he was 14 years old, and he was so savage. Like he was constantly saying what he was gonna do, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna beat you anyway," and like, yeah, that was so much fun. That guy is a great, funny kid.
Feels
Would be,
like, oh, sorry. Every region has to have their own young savage, doesn't it? You've
yeah,
obviously got the original amnesiac for America. We've got George C in England bringing
yeah.
the fire to everyone else, and in Denmark they've got William clearly just insulting anyone he's up against.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. Like, especially because he's so young and he looks so young. Like that makes it even more funny.
Looks
But
cherub
he did actually
cherubic.
really well at DreamHack. Like he was like
Oh, really?
6'1" or something.
Oh wow.
And everybody was like, "Whoa, who is that kid on the big boy tables?" And I'm like, and then he didn't make it, unfortunately. But yeah, it was a pretty fun thing.
And so Nikolai here, I'm going to have to make a real effort to call him Nikolai instead, just to avoid confusion. Bringing what I can only assume is going to be a really aggressive lineup with Druid, Warrior, and Shaman, as well as the fact that this Druid is clearly an aggro Druid of some variety. Means, I mean, I don't know how it's going to favor. We've seen in WESG so far, aggro has not been the way to go. Every player who's bought a super aggressive lineup has not qualified. But I mean, how do you feel about it? Do you think aggro has a good spot in the meta at the moment, or is it just a bit silly to not bring the tried and true mid-range and control decks?
I think aggro can work, especially against a meta where everybody plays Jade Root and Priest. But I think the aggressive decks can now still lose against Jade Root because they have cards like Spreading Plague, and the Priest
Right.
as well having cards like Shadowward Horror, Princess Potion, Dragonfire Potion, things like that. So yeah, I can understand, but still the aggro decks can high roll so well. They can win games in 4 or 5 turns without letting your opponent do anything. So and still, like Nikolai is in the semifinals, so it worked out for him so far. So
He's looking like that has the possibility to all fall apart here for Nikolai, though, because this is even worse than a regular Patches being drawn, because if he hadn't drawn that Patches, the Pirate synergies would be going insane. You could get the Bloodcell Corsair, the South Sea Captain, a whole bunch of buffed up Pirates, which is exactly what you want to be doing against the Druid, because they're going to be spending all their early turns not interacting with your board and instead going for mana ramp instead. But I guess maybe that you've got a whole bunch of Pirates on the board. If they stick, it's still good next turn.
I really like this play by Nikolai. Like he's putting all his minions on 1 HP. But you know your opponent is probably going to play Wildgrove or Corn Jade Blossom, so you don't have to be scared for that hero power. He thought about the turn so long, and he came up with this play. And now the thing is, what is he going to do? Is he going to make a minion with the power of the Wild, or is he going to buff his minion? I really like Power of the Wild. Go for a minion and play Mark of the Lotus, curving right into the South Sea Captain, and then push a lot of damage over 2-3 turns.
The thing is, though, if you go with the Captain on this turn, you're still making your board pretty resilient against Swipe, and you'd then be buffing up an extra minion with the Mark of the Lotus on the following turn. Do you think it's still worth it to go for the other 2 cards on this turn?
The thing is, if you go South Sea Captain, your Raven will not be buffed, so if Swipe will be played, you're going to be a little bit sad. But Nikolai Hoy is looking to use the burst like Mark of the Lotus, Power of the Wild, go for the buff, make his minions so strong that they actually cannot be killed off anytime soon. Look at this, 10 damage right to the face, and also sitting on the South Sea Captain, giving an additional 2 damage on the Pirates as well. And yeah, now William is actually forced to play Swipe here, but it only kills 1 minion.
It does, and this is kind of the way you want to be playing Hearthstone at the moment, especially against Druid, is you want tall but thin. You don't want to go too wide on the board because of Spreading Plague, because of Mind Control Tech, Swipe. You just want a few minions that are really, really threatening. And considering that Nikolai drew Patches right at the start of the game, he's done a remarkably good job of achieving that goal.
Yeah, fun to see that William swiped the Raven here over the Pirate. They know each other deckless, so you must know there's like cards like South Sea Captain. So you only remove like 1 extra damage, but you give your opponent a chance to play the South Sea Captain and buff those minions even more. And now it's pretty hard for William. What is he going for? Like, is he gonna coin out JB Behemoth? But it's not doing that much. It's only like a 3/6 taunt. It can be killed so easy. Now Dirty Rat, no minion there.
I love this play from William. I
Yeah.
think the thing is, if you're going coin into Jade Behemoth, you're probably going to be losing anyway because your opponent gets a really nice trade. You have to high roll here and pray your opponent has no minion, or at the very least a rubbish minion, and that Dirty Rat will survive you through, because then you can follow up on the next turn with Malfurion, which it does a pretty good job of putting up some taunts. Then you can go with Jade Behemoth and hopefully start to wrestle this game back into your favor.
Yeah, a lot of damage here for Nikolai Hoy. Is it going to be
Lots of
lethal?
damage.
Is it going to be lethal though? Like Bloodsilk Corsair, Powered Wild, Hero Power? It's just not going to be enough. It's just like 2 damage of lethal.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, 9
really
damage.
unfortunate.
Through. So
Really
then,
unfortunate.
if William were to go for Jade Behemoth, he'd still be dead. If he were to go for the Malfurion, he would go back up to 7 health, and I would believe he would still be dead.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But if the Malfurion comes out, yeah, he's still going to be dead. Indeed. So William has to think about what is he going to do. Jade Behemoth is also not really saving. It's only 6 health that he's gaining there. Yeah, and these buffs are so strong. He got like double Power Rod and Mark of Lows, and this is the power of Aggro Druid. Summon a couple of small pirates and then go for that Power Rod, Mark of Lows. Buff them all, go for a lot of damage right to the face and win the game on turn 6.
And I am going to have to amend a statement I made earlier. This doesn't appear to be a worse than usual patches. This patches, I guess, was okay in this instance. Obviously, it would have been a lot better if the patches was pulled out by a pirate, because he'd have another card in hand. But the thing is, just the fact that it was another pirate, you could just treat it as a Stone Tusk board that's a pirate instead of the beast, and you'd probably be happy to play that card in this instance, because you got so many pirates.
Like the thing is, if you go for like patches and you draw it and you can just buff it, it's not that bad as you said. It's the same as if you draw the Shaman. Like the Shaman is fine as well. You can use it for maybe like an evolve, or go for like patches Bloodlust, patches with the Flame Tongue Totem. It's definitely can definitely have a great use there. Of course you want to have it out of your deck, but in some other class like Pirate Warrior, it's way worse to draw it.
And I agree with you actually consistently with Nikolai's play throughout the game. I think he showed great prowess with the aggro druid deck, which is kind of shown to be pretty good throughout WESG. We've seen some players, actually especially in the female bracket, bringing a lot of decks they're more comfortable with than what are necessarily the top meta decks, and it's actually been performing pretty well. Some cool Murloc Paladins doing some pretty cool things, as well as things like Tempo Mage and Hunter, kind of getting a good amount of work done.
Yeah, it's really important that the decks you play, you can actually play well, since you lose so many percentages if you play one of those top tier meta decks, but you cannot master them like all those pro players do, put a lot of hours in it, and then they put their deck list on the internet, people just copy it, but they don't have the experience as the people who actually put the deck list on the internet.
So a matchup here that I have to imagine Nikolai is slightly less happy about going into. William bringing the Kazakus Priest and what appears to be a fairly anti-aggro variant, the Dirty Rat. Probably going to come out pretty decently here. It could obviously pull out something like a Dirty Rat, something like a Thing from Below or an Aya Blackboard, but the majority of the time you're going to be pretty happy to throw it down on turn 1.
Wow. Get the Primal Fin, not that bad for Roy. Oh, and Founds Evolve as well. The thing is, do you already go for it? Like, go for Bloodsilk Corsair, go for Evolve, and win the game from that point on. Like, you get like a 3-drop and a bunch of 2-drops, and it's so hard for Priest to deal with. Yeah, of course they have Shadowed Horror, but you don't have to doppelganger yourself. So maybe you're thinking, if I go aggressive now, I have already a pretty bad start. If I go for Evolve, I can actually win the game quite fast. But it's a hard choice.
Do you think in this matchup now you should be taking it as aggressive as possible and trying to secure early board control and lethals? Or do you think Nikolai should be slowing it down, going for things like the Hero Power Totem here, just to try and take it into the slightly later or mid stages of the game with a value approach?
I think you just go aggressive here. Oh wow, that's good.
That's insane!
Pyros is also so huge here. Can get so much value, and also the Kindly Grandmother, giving him a Death Rattle main, is pretty vulnerable to the Poison of Madness though. But that's not in hand for William. But William but I still think William is in a pretty good spot here. Look at his hand. He has Shadow with Horror. He has the Bob Pyromancer, Power with Shield, Pin Size combination. Like, he can do a lot of things. He's still on 30 HP. He has the Dirty Red on board, so definitely looking good for William here.
Okay, I've got a little bit, a few questions here. As a Dutchman, yourself, I hear mannerisms between like you, Tyler, and Tice that seem pretty consistent across. Pint-sized potion. It's pint-sized potion.
Really?
Yeah, it's pint-sized, but that's only a mistake I seem to see amongst Dutch players.
Yeah, the thing is, like, we have in Holland, we have pint, and that's a beer.
Oh.
So
I mean,
maybe
in
that's
England,
why.
You'd order a pint, and that would, if you said I'll have a pint, people would usually assume you mean a beer.
Yeah, in Holland as well, yeah.
Right. Okay.
But we call it a pint, so maybe that's why.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I learned something today.
Yeah, the thing is with all those kind of things, they're like so in your system because you're like using that word for like 27 years now. And yeah, then you have to probably say it differently, but I don't know. I don't know.
I like it. It's different. It adds a nice spin on the word. And also, I hear you often say quite some. There's quite some ways that he could deal with this. It seems to be another mannerism that's unanimous across Dutch people. I don't know. Yeah, I like it. It's not quite correct, but to be honest, the way English people speak, most of them is completely wrong anyway. So
Maybe we all had the same English teacher.
Yeah. I think that's probably it.
Yeah, probably as well, yeah. So let's jump into the game. Not that much happened. Yeah, Hoy killed off the Dirty Rat, but now William can actually go for like a Pyromancer. It's not really that great now. I think you want to wait one more turn, because then you can go like Pyromancer, Pyro with Shield, Holy Smite to go for like a full board clear. I'm really curious what Hoy is getting out of the barns. If there's something, what can it be? Something insane.
I mean, in a high roll, you're hoping to get what, a totem. Cairn might be in the list. We've seen certain players like Purple experimenting with Cairn in Shaman. Maybe an Aya Blackpaw as well. I mean, you're probably going to have to go for it on this turn because everything else is kind of rubbish, and you've been going with an aggressive approach until now. So I think I'd probably like playing out the barns here because you're still not vulnerable to that much stuff. It's basically exactly Organized Circle on this turn.
I think you just have to put down the barns here, see what he gets. He gets Prime of him, pretty good. Also reducing the thing from below here, so that's pretty sick. Yeah, but as we can see in the hand of William, William must be one happy kid now, playing Pyromancer, Power Shield, Holy Smite for a full board clear. And now we think Hoy is in a pretty bad spot. His hand's weak as well, like he has the Bloodseer Corsair for next turn, not having that much extra. Of course he has the Pyro for some extra value and the Bowmare, but this Flame Tongue is literally doing nothing with no minions on the board.
You're right, it's a very, very poor turn on this turn, but I guess he's hoping the fact that he expended a good amount of resources from his opponent last turn, he'll be able to capitalize on that by following up with powerful turns 6 and 7, obviously with Pyros into Bonemare, and maybe if his opponent doesn't have exactly Shadow Death or the Shadow Reaper Anduin in particular, that might just be enough in its own right to push for a victory.
Yeah, definitely. But William has a lot of board clear left. Like, he still has the Pyromancer on board. That's pretty hard to deal with. Also the Pin-Size Potion, Shadow with Horror for another full board here. It can be actually pretty handy if that Doppelganger Evolve comes down, or something like a Troll later on in the game. But it looks pretty bad for Nikolai. He needs to find some kind of power play, something like Doppelganger Evolve. Oh, and look at this draw, William. Finding the Galaka Crawler. Just
That's
after
disgusting.
Nikolai Hoy played the Pirate. And no reaction from Hoy. He must be his twin brother.
He must be what?
He must be the real twin brother.
The real twin brother. Oh, what, you think the regular Hoy, Frederick Nielsen, is an evil twin?
But he's also not showing any emotion if something like that happens.
Yeah, probably true.
Yeah.
Wow, another really nice card showing up for William. But the thing is, it's getting to the point where, maybe he won't even need to use cards like Dragonfire Potion to clear off the board, because he's just going to be ahead. Like, he's got the resources he needs to easily clear off this Pyros on this turn, which would deny Bonemare value on the following turn. So you probably invest the cards to kill it off, especially because it sets up for potentially just playing Lyra on the board.
Yeah, I think you can just do that. You're already so far ahead. The question is what William is going to do. Is he gonna clear the pyros or no? He's going for the shadow visions. Maybe finding the shadow or death, but also can find the silence here. Yeah, he finds the silence. So Nikolai Hoy not gonna get the 10-10 here, but I don't even think 10-10 is gonna be that great.
Yeah, I don't think you even bother here. I think you save that for going in combination with the Lyra.
I was going for it.
Yeah, I don't know. The thing is, it's so far off. If you save that to go with the Lyra, you can silence a totem, you can silence a minion that's been bone med. I think that's got a lot better value than killing off a 10-10.
Yeah, also, I don't think William is not really caring about his board because, like, he has Dragonfire Potion, he has Shadowward Horror in hand, so if Nikolai Hoy takes over the board, William has all the answers for a great board here.
So for Hoy here, now that you've seen, you know, the main clear you're expecting from your opponent in the early stages of the game from Wild Pyro, do you think you develop as much as you can onto the board here with double Firefly, Flame Tongue, hero power, or do you hold back a little bit? Because I guess you haven't seen Dragonfire Potion or Pint-Sized Horror yet.
I think you have to go on at one point. Like, you're so far behind. You didn't push any damage. You don't have any power plays in your hand. You don't have the combo. Of course, you have the evolve, so you can find maybe doppelgangster later on. You can even hold on to the Flame Tongue. But if you play Flame Tongue right now and you can, and your board will stick and you can go for Bowman next turn, you can push a lot of damage. So let's see what Hoy decides. Like what I say, you can go for Flame Tongue right now, so you can push a lot of damage next turn, but you can also hold on for the Flame Tongue, wait till his board will stick for one turn, and then go for like a lot of damage or some value trades with the Flame Tongue.
I think the thing I like most about this play from Nikolai is the fact that it's, you know, you could save back the Flame Element to go for a guaranteed Bone Marrow on the following turn. Because you've made such an unthreatening board, your opponent really isn't going to be bothering using resources to kill it off. Like, they're definitely not going to use Shadow Word Horror here. So you can just go with Bone Mare almost 100% on the following turn, and the fact that you can, and also the fact that you're just getting basically a charge with that minion. The buff can attack in right away, and it's going to come up in a huge way here, killing off the Lyra.
Oh wow, and he's going for the value trade here, so... But he's buffing up the totem. I'm not sure why he would do it. He could have buffed up the Flame Elemental as well, go for like a full trade there, but maybe he wants to have a big taunt. Can be the way of thinking, but yeah, there's the Dragonfire Potion.
It just gives you something that can attack, otherwise the Taunt Totem really isn't doing anything at all, so I can see the reasoning. But you have a Flame Tongue in hand anyway, so that Taunt Totem's probably going to be getting the job done anyway.
Go for the Radiant Elemental. Yeah, we can say Hoy is pretty far behind, but William HS does not have a lot of strong plays as well. But yeah, he has all the board clears, like the Pyromancer with a couple of spells, Fire Potion, and now even the Pin-Sized Potion, Shadow Word Horror, can even decide to go for just like Holy Fire. Oh, and there's the cannon we were talking about. Oh man.
This is kind of just, it's got the potential to go really good for both players though, because although we've got Pint-Sized Horror here, to clear off this board, it doesn't really feel worth it because you've got the Holy Fire just to kill it off anyway, and you can kill off most of them. It's a bit scary leaving up a Mana Tide, but I think if a Doppelgangster into Evolve comes down over the next few turns, the Pint-Sized Horror is going to be absolutely crucial to clear it off, because you've got such a good chance of killing off the minions. They have to be 6 attack or higher, which doesn't happen all that often.
Yeah, and Hoy must be so sad if he sees like a pin-sized Shadow Word Horror here. He already saw so many board clears. Yeah, and now he's thinking, how am I gonna play this one out? Am I gonna go for Cairn and get at least an extra card draw here? Or do I already fire off with the Doppelganger? Yeah, I don't think you can wait anymore. You see that William is having a pretty bad hand as well. He's playing a lot of slow turns, and now Doppelganger, what is he gonna get? Gets Reckless Rocketeer, but all these minions will die to the pin-sized Potion Shadow Word Horror combo, so that is horrible for Hoy here.
I mean, it is horrible for Hoy, but you have to. The thing is, if your opponent, you know, as casters, we can see the Shadow Word Horror and Pint-Sized Potion combo is available to his opponent. So you have to just take solace in whatever value he can milk out of a board that's going to be cleared next turn anyway. So obviously the high roll would be, you know, a whole bunch of Cairns and other death rattles that would leave something behind after the Pint-Sized Potion, Shadow Word Horror. But just getting 5 damage in with charge is kind of about as good as you can expect, because everything's going to be cleared off anyway.
Oh man, so sad. What if you got things like Savannah High Main and like the 8-8 guy? It's like that would have been such a difference. Then William had literally no way of dealing with it, and now the Prince is supposed to clear everything, and I think the Karen is just not going to be enough. Like the silence trade with the Raza is just insane, and even the Vine Spirit on the Lyra making it a 5-10. Such a great minion here.
It is also worth pointing out, just as a kind of correction to what I was saying earlier on, you know, William HS going for the silence on the Pyros earlier on is coming up huge for him. Imagine if Nikolai had a 10-10 he could have just thrown down here. I just have to take back any accusation that it wasn't the right minion to silence. He knew this game would be going for a bit of a late game top deck value fest, and just denying an extra 10-10 has come up in such a huge way here for Nikolai, or for William, sorry.
That would be so sick if Nikolai Hoy could drop down a 10-10. Would have contested the Raza so well. But yeah, I think another silence here on the Karen is just insane as well. Like, and gets even the Telnos. It doesn't look that strong, but it gives you an extra draw closer to your Anduin. And if William finds Anduin, he probably is gonna win the game, right? Like, there's no way the Shaman can deal with all those hero powers here.
The thing is, though, that like if you play the Anduin, you're destroying your own 5-8, and that is your absolute, you know, that is your board control card at the moment. You don't really need board control, you know, board wipe AOE cards. You're happy to just go with the Raza just to clear up whatever decent-sized minion can come down.
This is a pretty big top deck fest, though. Like, really depends on what Hoy can find. If Hoy can find a 12, there's like a good chance he's gonna win this, but till then, it's going to be pretty hard for him. William finds Shadow with Pain, not that useful against Shaman. Of course, it can kill the Flame Tongue Totem, but all these small minions, you can only kill one of them. And we have to say, William always used almost every single AoE, every single board here. So if Hoy finds a bunch of totems and he can pick up the Bloodlust, he can maybe cheese the win here and maybe win already so fast. Like, it's insane.
I mean, this is the biggest weakness of Kazakus Priest. They run so many cheap, low-value spells in order to combo with Gadgetzan Auctioneer, with Lyra, or with the Shadow Reaper Anduin once that's been played down. But in situations like this, it is absolutely terrible. You just suck at top decking so much.
The thing is, when you play it here, I think you have to, because your opponent has no cards in hand. If William finds Anduin, Hoy is going to be really sad, but if this Cult Master will stick on the board, oh man, yeah, he's thinking about it, but I think you have to play it right now. Play Cult Master, trade your Divine Shield into the Cabal Talon Priest, so you can trade it next turn as well. Yeah, he's thinking about it, but what kind of top decks can actually get it? Holy Smite, maybe?
We've already seen the Holy Smite.
Oh yeah, with the Pyromancer.
Yeah.
So maybe Holy Nova? Well, I think when Holy Nova comes down, you're going to lose anyway, right?
That's the thing. Holy Nova is basically not run that much anymore either. And the thing is, if they top deck Anduin, you're probably looking to lose anyway, because they'll just be clearing most of your board each turn. So I like the slightly high roller play here.
Oh, when he finds the Potion of Madness, and that's not enough. There's not a minion on Nikolai's board. Oh wait, he can
use it to steal the taunt. Yeah.
Oh man, what a draw actually from William here. He can steal the taunt, trade into the Cult Master, but then still losing everything here. Not getting anything back from it. Losing up, giving up the board here. And what I say, if Nikolai Hoy finds Troll here, I think it's gonna be who's gonna find the first Death Knight here. Oh, Bloodlust.
That's pretty juicy. And it's worth mentioning as well for Nikolai there that playing out the Cult Master, it still worked out pretty well for him, purely because of the fact that, you know, it killed off a Potion of Madness and the opposing Cabal Talon Priest, basically a 2-for-1 trade anyway.
Definitely. So, what is
You've got to save it here. Surely you have to save it.
Oh, he's thinking about using the weapon here, but I really like it when he just holds on to it. Like, not a lot of priests playing Harrison Jones or Ooze anymore, because since Pirate Warrior has gone out of the meta, people cut those cards a lot. Also, Paladin is not really popular anymore, so not a lot of Oozes and Harrisons nowadays.
Yeah, I like just the holding back of everything. Like, you know, if they find another AoE, which is unlikely to be left in the deck anyway,
man.
you're
Finds a
really
blank.
sad. But you could get to the point where Nikolai's dealing 15, 18, maybe even the full 21 damage
Oh,
Bloodlust
man.
here.
Finds even the Jade Lightning, so now he can go for like a 6 minion board, push some damage to the face as well. I think you just go for it. You also have the spell damage right now, so that's an additional damage. So if Hoy goes for 6 minions here, puts 6 damage to the face, 24. William's going back to 26 because he's gonna heal. Is that going to be lethal? Bloodless is 18 damage, and 3 is 21, 23, so it's not gonna be enough, even if Hoy decides to go face now with the Jade Lightning.
I mean, I think you've got to go for it anyway. Just the extra minion is really good. What minions are you actually looking to target with the Jade Lightning? Because if something like, you know, we've already seen Lyra in an earlier turn, and any other minions like Prophet Velen, you can kill it off with Bloodlust anyway. Like, you're not really afraid of anything here.
Yeah, and William was counting already if he was dead to the Bloodless, but as we see, it's just not enough. It's 18 and 4. 22, 24, so it's 2 damage of lethal if William heals himself. That's probably the case. Finds Prophet Velen, so that's going to be a 4 healing. But Nikolai, if he finds that Flame Tongue Totem or the second Jade Line, he will just win the game here on the spot. Is he going to find it? Finds Flame from below, but still think you go for the Bloodlust here.
Oh yeah. This is definitely the turn to do it, because if you don't kill this off and your opponent finds Spirit Lash, your board is gone and you're probably losing the game. And you're probably, you know, you're only going to get 1 minion better value than this anyway. It's just way too greedy to save it here. So just let it rip. Kill off the Prophet Velen. Are you in agreement?
Yeah, definitely. You have to kill it. Also, the 4 heal is so huge because there's only 4 damage on your board. So if you go Bloodless now, leave up the Prophet Velen. The Prophet Velen can actually undo your damage that you have right now.
Right.
So the thing is, do you face tank it? Like,
ooh. What does that save you? That means you get to keep the Argent Squire alive instead of one of your totems.
yeah, you could have gone for like the Jade build and then do the hero power, but I like how Hoy plays this one out. That's such a smart play because he's like, yeah, if I trade away my Jade, I lose 2 damage on the board. And also trading the 1/1 first and then play the hero power, so he has at least 1 extra damage next turn. This is such a smart play by Hoy. Really well thought of, and that's just great. And also a great draw by William here. Getting the Acolyte, getting some damaging draws here. Maybe Nikolai finds the evolve, but Nikolai has to find his troll here actually.
Ooh. It's still just ticking down for William. Like, eventually, Hoy is going to find you know, another Bloodlust, another Evolve, as you said, Thrall Deathseer, even just Flame Tongue Totem on its own. He's going to find a power card, and at that point, William has to find a board clear in order to come back. And he's used pretty much all his board clears. It's just Kazakus left.
Yeah, and that Manatite Totem is such a huge draw. You see William shaking his head. He knows how late it is. He needs to find his Anduin or something even better like Holy Nova, or at least some kind of AoE, but yeah, he's praying.
Less RNG.
Oh, there's the Flame Tongue. That can be so huge. Oh, and he finds.
Oh,
that was literally the best throw.
Yeah. 8 health, cycling with the Acolyte as well, because there was no way to actually damage his own Acolyte there because of the fact there was Taunt Totem away. But now there is, drawing another card, starting to wrestle back board control possibly here.
Also a great pickup here by Hoy, because he has the spell damage totem still on the board. You can just like Maelstrom Portal, go for Flame Tongue, get even a trade with the Jade.
It's an alright top deck, it's not insane.
That's pretty good, right? Like, it gives you a full board clear, gives you a bunch of minions on the board as well. The only problem is that William has 2 draws next turn because of the Acolyte and his additional draw. So, but if we see how many cards does William have left in the deck? Not a lot anymore.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be getting closer and closer to that Anduin. It's just the thing is, it's not actually that good anymore when you do get it. It's only going to be probably 2 things a turn, maybe 3 if you're lucky, and you get some card draw cards as well.
Glimmer Root can be pretty strong if it finds the Maelstrom Portal, but this Manatite Totem is doing so much work for Hoy, giving him 2 extra cards. And there's the Doppelgangster. There's also 1 Evolve left. No, I don't think so, right? No, there's no Evolve left. But there is Troll. finds Jade Lightning, pretty good, can clear off the Flame Tome or the Manatite. Not sure what he's going for, but... Oh,
this has been the
man.
most insane wet noodle fight. Neither player finding basically any of their good cards. Like Bloodlust was decent, but wasn't enough. Still no Thrall, Deathseer, still no Evolve, anything like that to really lock out the game in Hoy's favor.
Oh,
Even the
man.
Jade Lightning, which is good here. Yeah, it's not
question-
insane.
The question is, how do you play this one out? Do you go for the Jade Lightning here and even play the Doppelganger just as a triple 2/2? But you cannot even clear everything. That's the point. You don't even have enough damage. You get a Town Totem for sure, but I think you have to clear the Cleric as well because you don't want to give your opponent some draws. But your opponent is almost out of cards, so maybe you even want to give him some draws here.
I don't think that's true. I think they're way less like William is way less likely to be able to mount any kind of a comeback if they're drawing their cards one at a time. I think if you're giving them 2-3 cards in a turn, then they can start to like push, start to push some kind of combo together to clear your board or getting enough pings with Anduin to kill you off.
You could have decided to Jade Lightning the Cleric, clear off the 1/1, so and then the Town Totem will defend your board from the Glimmer Root, but I like this play as well. This also protects you from Anduin, so your Manatite will survive. Oh wow, he's not doing the 1/1 here. Ooh, Jade Claw, pretty good pickup as well, since your Jades are already 4/4. And there is the Anduin. That's the card he was looking for, but I still think it's a little bit late to the party here, because you're not having any cards to reset your hero power with.
I'm trying to think if there was... do you think it was worth drawing a card there instead, actually? Because you could attack in with the Cleric and heal up the Taunt Totem instead. That had to have been better, surely, than just healing 2 for face.
Oh, wait, and there's also Kazakus left in the deck of William, of course.
Yeah, I think it was definitely worth trying to draw an extra card there, because the thing is, even if you are at like 4 cards left in deck, whatever, any small health total, you're probably going to be losing soon anyway. You need to get those cards as quickly as possible.
Yeah, definitely. But if Hoy finds Thrall Death here, or he finds the Bloodlust here, he will probably insta-win the game. And Hoy having a double draw for a couple of turns now definitely puts him in the driving seat here.
Oh, yeah.
What do you
I mean, what you can kill off the Murloc here. He's just thinking, is it worth it to try and damage one of my opponent's minions instead and try and get more draw off the healing totem? Like, that's never going to happen because there's the 3/3 golem on board anyway. But still, just not the power cards that Nikolai is looking for. William has somehow managed to stay alive in this game for such a long time.
Yeah, and if this game goes to fatigue, this Manatite Totem is gonna backfire on Horn. He's gonna take double fatigue damage. That's also a thing we have to keep in count here. Like, this game is so crazy. It's so
That's
close
never
as well.
gonna get to that situation, surely. Like, just because Nikolai is saving back the Doppelgangster here, if Nikolai gets Kazakus into board clear, eventually Thrall Deathseer, if it's in the deck, we should say, we don't know deck lists, if it is in Nikolai's deck, he will be able to go Doppelgangster into Thrall Deathseer and very likely to win.
Definitely. What kind of potion do you go for if you're William? Are you going for the 5 mana potion you can insta-play and also have like a reset on your hero power? Or do you go for like the ultimate power play with the 10 mana potion? Go for like the 100% board clear if the Doppelganger Evolve comes down, and also maybe get like the triple revive and get something like a Raza and a Prophet Talent back into your board.
I mean, it's tough, but the thing is, getting the 1 extra isn't actually that good. Bottom card, Kazakus.
Oh man. And if he does not find AoE, this game is over with Bloodlust. And also the bottom card for Hoy is the Thrall Deathseer. So both players having that insanely strong power cards on the bottom of the deck. So pretty important for both players, but it equals each other. No, not the AoE. Not the AoE! He doesn't find it!
Wow. And that's it.
That's so unfortunate. So Nikolai Hoy is gonna take this one with the Bloodlust. And Hoy's like, please don't have it right now. And now he's gonna find out that William is trading hard.
And
now he's...
after fatiguing the after fatiguing the priest here, it looks like Hoy is going to be winning with a token charmed game. And it didn't look at the start like it was going to be going anywhere near this direction. He played aggressive at the start. He played Evolve on turn 2, I believe, or turn 3.
Yeah.
Right at the start, didn't take the slow value play, and instead was just going all out with damage. Or is it not over yet?
Oh, wait a second. Boy is not even playing.
He's not playing Thrall Death Knight. And is he only playing one Evolve, or did have both Evolves come down already?
Oh, wait a second. He's still gonna win this, right? Like, he can just, like, trade into the 1-1.
9, 12. Can he heal up at all? Oh, he can fatigue his opponent.
Yeah. You can just trade the 1-1. Give your opponent another draw. Make the value trade, so the healing tone will heal back up to 3-3. Then you play Doppelgangster Primal Pain and set up for like Bloodlust. So William is gonna draw a bunch of cards here, and yeah, he's going for it, giving William a bunch of draws. That's really unfortunate for William. He's gonna take 2 extra fatigue damage here. Yeah, he's putting his shirt over his head. He knows how it is. He's going to be 2-0 down here, and boy is looking ready to go.
Yeah, he's looking very, very good. Hopefully there he'll get a bit of a hand so he can tell him apart from his brother.
Yeah. He shoot, right? And he's laughing. Boy is laughing.
I mean, it is open. We don't know the deck list, but the players do know each other's deck list. So if Nikolai can, if he's been keeping track, he knows that this is loot order as the final card.
Oh man.
And yeah, this is it. I was kind of thinking maybe there's a way with a whole bunch of hero powers that William can just bring his opponent's health total down low enough to where the fatigue damage will be killing him off, but I'm pretty sure that's just it.
Yeah, you saw Hoy thinking like, what does he still have left? What's the last card in his deck? And now he must be so happy that he won this game. What a thriller of a match. Like, Shaman versus Priest going into fatigue.
Wow.
That's something you don't see that often, right?
Yeah, that is absolutely ridiculous. And we are left with only the Warrior left for Nikolai. I'm expecting Pirate Warrior because it's been pretty aggressive in his other decks so far, clearly indicating that is his play style. But maybe not. Are you? What would you like to see most of all in the Warrior slot here?
I think it's just going to be Pirate Warrior. If you see his lineup, it's just full aggro, like the Druid, the Shaman is also pretty aggressive. But it can also be Control Warrior, but I don't think Control Warrior is that strong. Wow, and look at this deck. Argent Commander, Grimmy Gadgeteer. What is this deck? What did he come up with?
I know that in the UK scene, Jambray was playing around with Argent Commander in a whole bunch of decks, not even just in Warrior, but also in like the Temper Mage and stuff like that, as soon as Keleseth became the way to play Pirate Warrior and a whole bunch of other aggro decks as well. But it's looking to be a pretty powerful start to get things going for Nikolai. I mean, Navzos first mate into upgrade is a really powerful start to the game. Grimy Gadgeteer as a 4-3 that really wants to be killed off by the Priest. A 4-attack minion is difficult to do that to.
Yeah, this is so great. But also the Argent Commander is so strong against Priest because this is a 4-attack minion and Priest cannot really deal with it. And it also got Divine Shield as well. So most of the time it's going to do at least 8 damage. That's so strong. Boy, pretty good start here at least. No patches draw. And he can curve out in double frothing. And if we look at the hand of William, there's not really an answer for it. Maybe he's already going for the Potion of Madness here. So this double frothing can actually get out of hand quite fast.
So, as William here, are you just all in on denying pirate synergies by going for the Spirit Lash now? Or do you want to save that for a little bit later on to gain more health?
I don't know.
It's less mana efficient with this play, but I guess you can save the Spirit Lash for the Acolyte of Pain as well, to maybe get closer to some of your more effective answers.
Yeah, maybe you can save the Spirit, but Spirit Dash can also be a little bit better if you maybe draw like Blood Mage Stones, so you get like a draw and a better AoE, or when you're like low on HP, because there's like a big chance that the Priest is getting low on HP against the Pirate Warrior, so maybe you want to save it for heal. I don't know. Playing the Poison of Madness here is pretty good. Like most of the Pirates have like 3 or more attack as well, and also the Frothing Berserker. Yeah, of course it's 2-4, but if they play it on an empty board, yeah, you can take it over, but you cannot really do anything. You cannot trade it into something. It's also having 4 health, so most of the times you can not even trade it into something to kill it off. So I like playing the I like playing the Potion of Madness here. Also because you have to remove those pirates to play around the Dark Opus.
So what's the play on this turn? I think the main thing that Nikolai is considering is I really want to go coin into Grimy Gadgeteer on the next turn. But the play would be so bad here that I think I agree. It's probably worth to go coin into the Frothing Berserker here, because then you have the option to go either with Fiery War Axe for 3 mana, boo hoo hoo, on the following turn, or just go for the second Frothing Berserker.
It's a close one though. I really like developing War Axe here because it also does your Frothing here, but if you have double Frothing right now, it puts you in such a great spot. But you have to trade your Frothing into the Glimmerroot then. It's okay because it makes your... What if you trade your weapon first, then you play Frothing, and then you trade the Glimmerroot, so you make it a 4/4, so it cannot be Shadowward Death or something like that.
Okay.
Make it a little bit harder for William to deal with.
The thing is, if you're going for that, you're kind of... You've still got another Frothing Berserker that's coming up behind, even if one of them does get killed off, and that is assuming there is even a Shadow Word Death. And the thing is, if a Shadow Word Death does come down here, it's a really slow play. It's probably protecting you from...
man.
Yeah, I was going to say it's probably protecting your Bittertide Hydras against the Shadow Word Death later on, which are very likely in the deck. But as you said, that is going to be a pretty nice draw at some point.
Yeah, but still, cannot really do anything with it, right? Like, he can go for it right now, like, go Wild Pyromancer, Spirit Lash. Oh no, he's going for Shadow Visions. Maybe he can find something like Shadow Word Death, Dragonfire Potion. 2 cards that's actually pretty good, but he finds Shadow Word Death. That's the card he was actually looking for. That's huge. Kills off the Frothing here, and also busts the other Frothing to 8 attack, but he can kill it off with Shadow Word Death. I think, Hoy, what is he going for? This is a pretty awkward turn, I have to say.
Such a sick play from William to go for the Wild Pyro over the Spirit Lash as well, because that, just the fact that Nikolai has to spend 1 mana here to go for the N'Zoth's First Mate to kill it off is so big.
Yeah, you can go Answered First Mate into War Axe, but yeah, it's not really the play you want to make here. At least you push 10 damage, but I don't know. It's a pretty awkward turn.
Maybe you could you argue that it's worth going for Grimy Gadgeteer and just push face here? That's just got to be too risky, hasn't it?
He's gonna face tank it here, yeah. Pushing 9 damage to the face is pretty crucial here. Not a lot of damage in the hand for Hoy, but definitely getting close to lethal here if he can find some other strong cards. So let's see, what is William going for? Yeah, of course he has to play the Shadow Word Death here. He cannot really take another 10 here, but what do you play with it? Do you also play the Northshire Cleric? You just play it to tank maybe a War Axe shot here, but putting a heal here is fine as well, I guess.
Yeah, the thing is, like, you're gaining 2 health instead of 3. It's not that good to get the kill for them to attack into your Cleric, and it's less mana efficient anyway, so you can very likely heal up and play Cleric on the same turn at a later point. So yeah, I agree with going with the heal there instead. And then on this turn for Nikolai, I guess you just go with the Grimy Gadget here, just get that on the board and say, are you going to put what, Dragon of Fire Potion into just killing this? It's such an annoying card for William to deal with.
Yeah, also that 4/3 is such a hard minion to deal with for William. Like, he has the second Shadow Word Death, but he cannot really do it. He doesn't have AoE. Like, last game, he had all the AoE in the world. He had, like, the Dragonfire Potion, the Pin-Size Potion, Shadow Word Horror combination. But now, he's just sitting on all those solo cards. Yeah, now Hoy probably has to kill one of them. Whoa, and there's the upgrade!
Right, so now we've got, what, 4, 12, 13 damage available right now. And considering that comes with an upgrade as well,
oh man.
Yeah.
The question is, what are you doing here? Are you gonna kill off the Frothing, or are you just playing the Corkron here and just hammering down the face? Like, I think you have to trade at this point, since you don't really want to give your opponent 2 or 3 card draws out of the Acolyte. Also, you don't want to leave the Frothing up so he can make the trades for you. This is so awkward. Like, Hoy said, yeah, I really want to go phase here. I have so much damage. And he decides to go Spellbreaker on the Acolyte. That's a good play as well. Spellbreaker, upgrade, kill off the Frothing, push 5 damage to the face, and yeah, set up for like a lethal in a couple of turns here.
I like using the Spellbreaker now because in the Kazakus Priest, there's not really too much that you're hoping to target. No taunts unless they're playing Tar Creeper. Obviously, the players have access to deck lists. We don't. Just playing the, well, just not going for the charge here, I think, from respect. Developing board instead definitely feels like the way to go for me.
Developing board, yeah, and he's not going for the spell breaker. He can still go for it. Maybe he wants to save it for a taunt or something like that. Pretty good pickup here for William, though. He finds the Kazakas. Also the double, but it's not hitting the Corkron.
Absolutely awful.
Yeah, 3 times now it did not hit the Corkron. If these all 3 hit the Corkron, that was so sick.
So now this is the crossroads for Williams. He could have gone for the Priest of the Feast with the Spirit Lash, but I like going for this because you have the option to hit 3 damage and 2 damage AoE to completely clear the board, but he just misses it. We couldn't see what he got off of it because of crappy Hearthstone spectator mode, but I think he probably went for 3 damage, just thinking, if I'm going to win this game, I have to get the 3 damage AoE, or the 2 damage AoE as well, but he hasn't hit it, and I think that's just going to end up in being game now.
Yeah, pretty unfortunate for William. Like last game as well, he was looking for that AoE from the Kazakh. It was the last card in his deck. If he got that AoE, he was in such a great spot of winning the game, but he didn't find it. And Hoy was so happy about that after such a long game. And now again, no AoE for William. So I'm curious what he's going for. Probably going for the Spirit Lash. He healed himself back up.
This feels so bad because now you can't go for it with the Prophet Velen. And if you can get Spirit Lash Prophet Velen, that's insane, but he gets the Resurrect. Wait, but it doesn't trigger.
No, it's fixed.
Oh yeah, you're right. There was a video made about exactly that. So if this had been played 2 weeks ago...
Yeah. They would have cleared it off, yeah. Yeah.
I didn't think I would actually see that mechanic come into play anytime soon, but literally the exact card they were talking about in Wild Pyromancer in the video is going to change the tide of this game.
Yeah, but look at this double upgrade on the War Axe. It's such a huge thing to have, like a 5-3 weapon, giving 15 damage to the face is insane. Going for the Spellbreaker probably on the Pyromancer is also an 8-7, and that forces William to use his Shadower Death, but he can combo it with the Priest of Feast, so not that bad though.
But we are going to see at the very least 11 damage coming forward on the very next turn for Nikolai.
You can also decide to go for Holy Fire, but he's probably going for the Shadow Rev. So, if Hoy finds 3 damage here, he actually wins the game. What kind of 3 damage cards does he have? Corkron Elite, maybe even Heroic Strike, Mortal Strike, I don't know. If he finds 3 damage, he wins the game. Right,
probably going to be a... Oh, okay, it's not a Kelliset deck. He's running the Bloodsail Raiders. So that does mean that there's the option for Heroic Strike, which is very likely in the deck now. I think you just have to keep up with that plan. You know, you got to keep on pushing to damage to face, pray your opponent doesn't have any more heal than they can just do with the hero power, and then just try and close out the game through the top deck of a bit of extra burst.
Yeah, Hoy's in a pretty bad spot right now, especially William sitting on that Holy Fire, dealing 5 damage, but also healing himself for 5. That's so huge, such a tempo swing, since your life total is actually one of the most important things in this matchup. The question is, what is Hoy going for? Is he going for the board play? I really like it if he goes for Corkron Elite, trade into the Priest of the Feast, trade the weapon into the Kazakhs and develop the Bloodsail Raider.
You're just going all out on the board control.
Yeah, definitely.
If you had seen a Dragonfire potion, it would have come down at this point. But this, I don't know. I feel like this might give you more chances at getting an out. You're just going to need... What? Your opponent has to heal up for so much to get out of range, but Holy Fire does exactly that.
Saw the face of Hoy there. He was like, no way he got that here. But yeah, 13 damage. What can he actually do here?
It's got to be 8 damage, which there's nothing that can deal 8 damage in one swing. I mean, now that you've gone for the face plan, you have to keep up with that. There's no way you're ever trading in this instance.
No, you don't. Yeah, you look pretty bad here as Nikolai. Like, William also having the Raz here. I think you even go for Prophet Velen, so you can heal for 4. Also sets up for... So you can also decide to go for... Yeah, Prophet Velen heal, and then next one you can go like heal, Mind Blast, even set up for lethal here. So looks pretty good here for William. And I don't think Hoy has any outs in his deck to put 9 damage. Yeah, he finds Dreadforce there, not really helping him right now. So William is doing a little bit of a comeback here. Oh man, after being 2-0 down, he's gonna make it 2-1. Priest finally taking a win for him.
So I think the thing is, for Nikolai here, I really would like to go back or just get some of the people in chat's opinion on whether, you know, he took good risks there, because he obviously had chances to just win the game on the spot at several points. Like if the Grimy Gadgeteers had buffed the Cork on Elite twice instead, he would have won. If he top deck a bit of damage on the last turn, he would have just won. Whether it was worth going with Mongoloid's plan of going with board control or going more aggressive like he was going for, maybe that just gave him the best chance at taking the game. But either way, really serious there.
Yeah, and I think the Holy Fire was a random generated card, right? So Nikolai couldn't really play around that, so he didn't know what kind of card it was. I'm not wondering. Yeah, it was from the... Was it actually?
I think that's just in the deck.
Okay, yeah, then maybe Hoy could have known it, but I don't know. I can understand that he went phase there. Like,
right.
Your opponent has 2 cards in his hand, and he needed to have exactly that card to win the game.
Right.
So I can understand the risk he took there. But if you go board control, most of the times it gives you more damage over 2-3 turns than just 1 turn going full phase and give up your board.
And so it's going to be up against the Druid or the Rogue left for William that Nikolai is going to have to pit his Pirate Warrior. Probably going to have still a respectable matchup against the Druid. I mean, it's kind of had a weird matchup throughout the history, because as soon as Spreading Plague was introduced at 5 mana, it was kind of just a pretty good matchup for the Jade Druid, especially if they were running cards like the Primordial Drake as well. There were just too many anti-aggro options. And now that the Pirate Warrior has been nerfed as well in terms of Fiery War Axe, maybe it's just too difficult of a matchup given how much taunt there is in the Jade Druid now.
Yeah, definitely. Especially the Spreading Plague is doing so much work for Druid right now against aggro decks. But if we take a look at Nikolai's list, he is playing those buff cards. Like, if he can put up a board with a bunch of buffed, maybe the Corkrons or something like the Argent Commanders, it's so hard for Druid to deal with. But, oh man, and there we go again. Nikolai having that double Frolling Berserker against the Druid, and that's the way you're gonna win against Druid. They've literally no way to deal with this Frothing, so I think Hoy is gonna keep both Frothings here.
I mean, they do. It's kind of slow, and they do have swipes. But yeah, I agree. It's having them as a pair. They're more powerful than the sum of their parts, because they're buffing each other when they're taking damage. A swipe then can't just take them out. Both of them, it can only deal with one. And with the South Sea Captain as well, it's just an absolute plethora of powerful 3-drop minions.
Yeah, definitely. And the question is, do you even go for like Frothing on turn 2, or do you even go coin out the South Sea Captain so you get like the 2/2 patches right out of your deck?
Right. I mean, if you can go coin into Frothing on turn 2 and then follow up with the Captain, you can charge him with the patches to face or to a minion and then buff up the Frothing Berserkers even more and allow them to tack into face. So that's probably the way you do it. But maybe if you get some other pirates along the way, it would change your game plan.
Yeah, we will see anytime soon. Yeah, I think Nikolai is thinking his game plan, how I'm gonna do it in the next couple of turns, but also
he's just bluffing a 2-drop.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is like, you know, totally no reason to not do that. Make your opponent think, you know, maybe if you've got a few 2-drops and a few, or 1 2-drop and a few 3-drops, am I going to coin it out? But obviously that's not going to be the case.
Exactly. Jade Idol picked up here for William. No Wild Growth, but he has to Jade Blossom. Pretty good for him. The question is, do you go Frothing? I really like Frothing here, so you can go for like the second Frothing afterwards, and you can trade into the 1/1. That's looking so well. And as we see in the hand of William, no direct removal right now. Yeah, he has the Spellbreaker, but not doing that much. Yeah, of course, it silenced the Frothing, but there's still the other one doing a lot of damage right to your face.
The thing is, you are vulnerable to Wrath with this play, but if you go coin into Captain, you're vulnerable to Wrath still. It doesn't really make any difference. And with this play, as you said, you've got the high roll potential of going for patches to kill off a minion on the following turn, start attacking some real damage through to face. And with N'Zoth's first mate as well, we can see an even more powerful development onto the board.
That's a huge draw for Hoyer. And the question is, what are you going for right now? Do you go for like the Ansel first mate with the South Sea deckhand and then trade everything away, go face, set up for like the second Frothing, or set up for like a Bloodseal Cultist?
so vulnerable to swipe, then I think you probably actually go with the captain first, take out the 2/2 Jade, because then swipe, even though the 1/1 is left on, it's not quite as effective because you've got a 4 health and a 3 health minion, and then you can follow up next turn with something like N'Zoth's first mate into the Blood Cell Cultist, giving you buffed up minions with the Pirate, with the captain, and buffing up your weapon at the same time.
So, no, he's still going for it. Yeah, I really like this play. Of course, you're vulnerable to swipe, but if he does not, like,
you're so vulnerable to swipe though, because it's going to go swipe into this turn, and then they're probably going to go Aya or Behemoth on the next turn. I think I prefer the captain. Yeah.
Yeah, and then make the double trade, or do you have the value trade from both means?
No, I think this is the trade of it. This is exactly what I'm looking at, because as I said, it leaves you options on the following turn. You can go N'Zoth's first mate into Cultist.
Oh!
Oh my god, no way!
What a draw here by William. He finds the Galaka Crawler. That's just crazy draws here by William.
That's nuts.
Eating a Saucy Captain. That's what you want to do if you're a druid.
And I think Nikolai's hands are together praying that that exact card does not come down.
This is insane. Also Dirty Red. Pretty weak one though. He could have also got the Floating Berserk, and then he was like in a pretty bad spot, I have to say.
Yeah, there are actually quite a lot of bad outcomes, like, you know, Frothing Berserker, as you said, Cultist, the Corcoran Elite, Hydras, if those are in the deck, which is very possible.
Yeah, the question is, what are you going for right now? I think you just have to trade, play your second Floating Berserker as well, maybe go for the first mate, and settle for like a double Bloodsail Cultist in the next coming turn, so you make like the 3/5 weapon. Couple of things you could do there. You can also wait for like the War Axe, right? But it's hard, Wow, that Golakka Crawler draw was just nuts.
That really has just absolutely changed the tide of this game so massively. I mean, you can, you know, if you're attacking in with the Frothing Berserker here, it dies to the Crab, even if you silence it. You can go for, what, the first mate into Cultist, buff up your weapon, and just start smacking into face. Just accept that your Frothing Berserker is going to die, because they have to trade in a 3/4 anyway, so it's not a great trade for them.
Yeah, it's just hammering the face right now. Yeah, and he went for the second Floating plan. I like this a lot. Like, he probably has to trade his Pirate into the, or his Golakka Crawler into the A2. And then his second Floating will keep buffing again. So I really like this play, but William can do a couple of things here. Are you going for Wildgrove Silence here? Yeah, you have to. You cannot just leave that floating up and make it like a 10-4 minion like the other one.
The thing is, though, if Nikolai is playing around mind control tech, which actually now he won't even have to because most of his minions are being cleared up, there's not that much for William to do. Like, he's not necessarily going to be winning board in the mid game, as you so often would be against Pirates.
Yeah, we have to say, pretty awkward draw again for Nikolai Hoy. And maybe even have to play the Bloodsail Cultist just as a 3/4. Or you're losing so much tempo as the Pirate Warrior. But
yeah, I think I prefer the captain. You can just go for double, you know, you can go for double Cultist on the following turn, and even if it does get Wrath, you'd only be getting one buff with it on if you played the Cultist now anyway, and then on the following turn you can just go Cultist and upgrade your weapon once anyway.
Exactly, yeah, we will see what Hoy's deciding to do. I think he's going for the Saucy Captain though. What you say, going for the double, like he's in a spot that he has to make a play like this. Just pray that his Saucy Captain will stick on the board. Like if the Captain doesn't move now, Hoy's in a pretty bad spot here. What is the draw? Spreading Blade can be pretty useful later on in the game.
Even here, even if it just gives you one torch, that could very possibly be the time that William needs to pull back.
Look at this. Having your Fairy War Axe can buff that one up, but the thing is, do you even do that? Like, double Cultist is also pretty strong, gives you 2 minions and gives you also a 3/3 weapon, so... But yeah, 4/3 weapon is also pretty sick here. But what if he went for double Bloodsail Cultist? You had almost the same weapon, but you have
I think you're right,
on the board. But you have one more minion on board.
Yeah. I mean, you could if this manages to stick, or you draw another pirate off the top. I guess you're in a spot where, you know, you're upgrading a more powerful weapon. But the thing is, you're nowhere near actually killing off your opponent. And now that the Nourish has come down, I just don't really see a way that Hoy ever takes back the board.
Look at the draw of William again. The second Golakka Crawler sitting there waiting to eat a pirate here. And that pirate is definitely gonna come out on the board. That Bloodseal Cultist is gonna be played anytime soon, and then the Golakka Crawler will just eat it. And Hoy will be in a really bad spot. Yeah, and as you can see, Hoy is like, yeah, I have to go face now, otherwise I'm just gonna lose this game. I cannot afford to trade anymore. And he's not even playing a minion here. He's just holding onto his board, to his hand, and
the thing
that's
is,
horrible.
If he's going for this game plan of going face, both of these minions help him to push more damage to base. He can silence a taunt, or he can upgrade his weapon. I think he's correctly realizing he is never regaining board control here. So he just needs to pray there can only ever be one taunt that he will be able to silence with his Spellbreaker, and he'll just be able to push damage for the lethal. It's very, very unlikely to happen, but I think it's his only shot.
Yeah, but only the thing is, I even think William can just out damage him. Like, there's 15 damage on board with the swipe and the hero power. It's 1 damage of lethal, of course. Boy, armors up, but it's so close for William to have lethal. Does he find another damage? No, he finds Nourish. Can maybe draw into lethal with the Wild Growth here. Swipe will do it for him, but...
I mean, the thing is, as long as you're playing a taunt here, just to lock out any kind of nonsense from happening. I mean, you just play the Spreading Plague here because you're going to win next turn anyway. You don't need to play the swipe.
No, definitely not. And at least the Spreading Plague gives you the taunt, and you're not going to get more value from the Spreading Plague anyway. And now when you draw the second Spreading Plague, the decision is even easier to make. Is there any way Hoy can actually win this?
Yeah, no, I think this is basically over. But I think the thing is from William as well, just the fact that he didn't go for hero power and instead went for double wild growth is probably a small misplay as well. Like, he's got everything he needs to win the game on the following turn anyway, with plenty of damage on board and a swipe. So I probably would have liked taking the even safer play, because maybe there's Spellbreaker into double heroic strike to close out the game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't think he plays heroic strike though, but as we can see,
really, he doesn't play heroic strike.
Yeah, I didn't see it in 2 games, so I don't think he plays like he's playing this. This good cards and Origin Commanders. Like, how do you have spot for that?
Not Mortal Strike, heroic strike as well.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. Oh, interesting. I mean, I think if you're not running Keleseth, that's got to be one of the main reasons. It's such a good card in Pyro.
Man, look at this draw. Ultimate Infestation. That will seal the deal, but it's lethal for William. There's 13 damage on board, 4 damage from the swipe, and the hero power will make it 18. Or just the Ultimate Infestation.
That'll do it too.
Yeah, and I really like that he uses his top deck to finish the game. Also because it can maybe tilt your opponent. Yeah, oh, now he top decks the lethal while I was like close to winning the game. So I really like that William makes use of every small thing in the game to win. And now another complete best of 5. Going into the last game here, and it's just insanely close. Warrior versus Rogue, and yeah, you see her. Come on, I was 2-0 ahead. And William is about here. Like, 1 game. Who's deciding who's going to Barcelona here and play at that great event, WESG? And if you can make it to China, or I don't know where the grand final is. It's in China, I think.
I don't think it's been announced yet. I mean, it was in China last year, but yeah, we only know Barcelona at the moment.
Okay, so yeah, if you can go to the grand final, there's like 200,000-300,000 euro or prize money, even more. So these guys are playing for a lot of money.
It's an unbelievable amount of money. Like, it seems like, you know, because it's a fairly, you know, low production cast or whatever, or it seems like there's no money on the line right now. This is a huge qualifier. Just the fact, you know, they really. I saw a thing of highest earning players in Hearthstone throughout all its history. And Staz, I think, is number 5, basically just because he won WESG last year and won like 250 grand. Like, it's an insane amount of money that you're making.
Yeah, it's insane. Like, and it also makes you like a full professional instantly, because you can just like use the money to live and like put all your time into making a career, and you don't have to get like a job next to playing Hearthstone and stuff. So you can full focus. Yeah. Like, if you read the Sintolol's article on how he qualified for last call, as you see how many time he put into to do that. Like he played 2 to 4 open cups a day. He grinded legend on 3 servers. He was like for an entire year. You cannot do that if you have to go to school, if you have a job or something. You just don't have time for it, especially with the traveling as well. If you go to all those great events like the Dream Hacks and stuff, it also always costs you traveling. So
I mean, even Zalay in his video about last call recently saying, you know, he struggled to even fit in a personal life, seeing his girlfriend or whatever. It's just so much Hearthstone you have to play.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah, you have to put a lot of things aside if you want to be a professional player, especially in a grind environment that we're in right now. Yeah, back in the days, let's take a look at this matchup. Like back in the days, Pirate Warrior was so favored against Rogue, but now, as you can see, this Tempo Rogue is actually pretty good against Pirate Warrior. There's so much early game.
Oh yeah.
And with him having a pretty good hand here with the backstep SI and Shaku and the coin as well. So, and Hoy has to skip his turn too. That's pretty awkward, pushing some damage. But if you look at the hand of Hoy, he has a lot of damage in his hand. He has the Arcanite Reaper, he has the Argent Commander. That's already 14 damage. So there is a chance Hoy decides to go all face here and maybe get the win like this. But for now, I put my money on William.
I think the main thing you're looking for Nikolai in this matchup, as it's kind of always been for Pirate Warrior against Rogue, be it Miracle or this Temper Rogue, is you're just looking for damage from hand, because they just don't really have the answer to that. Rogue has the way to lock down early board control, as you said, with Backstab SI, and now with the Vilespine Slayer as well. But what they really struggle with is the fact they have no healing and very little taunt, what with it only being Tark Reaper and Bone Bear. So if you can get in that high amounts of damage on turns 5 and 6 with Arcanite Reaper, here we see the Argent Commander as well, in addition to Heroic and Mortal Strikes. There's just very little the Rogue can do, even if they have board control.
Pretty interesting turn here by William, going for the dagger here instead of going for pressure. He could have gone for like backstab coin as I clear both buys to play around Bloodseal Cultist, but he's like, yeah, maybe I have to hold on to everything and maybe play it a little bit later. But now Hoy can push a lot of damage with its patches. William already on 24, probably going to use the weapon again, put him on 23. And as we can see, Arcanite Reaper and Argent Commander also representing 14 damage already. So if Hoy can find some other damage, there's a big chance he's gonna win this. Like if he finds one upgrade, that will probably already do it.
So do you like attacking him with the Rusty Hook here for Nikolai, or do you think you should be saving it back for a turn? Because it's still a turn off before you can play the Arcanite Reaper.
It's not. This is the last turn you play, and then next turn you play Arcanite Reaper, right? So.
Oh right, okay. So I guess, I mean, I was thinking you could attack on the same turn as Arcanite Reaper, so you wouldn't be wasting any charges. But I guess this allows you to swing in literally every turn. Yeah,
definitely. Alright, you go Bloodseal Raider here. Like, you don't really have another play. You want to save the Dread Corsair to make like one of those big swing turns with Arcanite Reaper next turn. And especially with the South Sea Captain, it's so sick.
Like, if you go with the Captain though, you can kill off. Oh no, wait, you've already pulled patches from your deck. Sorry, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Such a close game, actually. What is Hoy gonna do here? Like, I think he's going for the Bloodseal Raider though, but the other two is just like the same amount of damage. Maybe he's thinking, yeah, the Bloodseal Raider is so strong with my Arcanite Reaper, but I don't think there's a way the Bloodseal Raider will ever stick on the board.
Yeah.
The question is, how William is going to play this one out. Is he going to coin out the Vilespine Slayer here? Is he going to backstab Hero Power for Shaku? There's so many things, but this South Sea Captain, such a huge draw. There's still patches in the deck, so now we can go South Sea Captain, pull out the patches out of his deck, maybe even dagger up or use the backstab.
Oh yeah, I think the one thing you don't want to do is attack into this minion with your face. You really want to be using minions to clear off the board every single turn there. So, you know, I could reasonably see attacking with the SI play Shaku. That's not a particularly high development onto the board, so I'd probably expect to see coin Vilespine more than that, because you're not looking to kill off anything that much bigger, and then you can follow up with the Captain on the next turn anyway, but I don't hate going for the Captain here either.
Captain looks pretty solid here, and Hoy still sitting on 14 damage. So what we already said a couple of times, if Hoy can find 6 or 7 extra damage he's gonna win this game. And there's a South Sea
Ooh.
deckhand. That's a lot of damage, especially with the South Sea captain. That's at
Exactly.
least 3 damage. And the question is, what is he going for? Is he going for Reaper phase? I think you have to go at this point. Like,
Yeah.
you're still on 31 HP. If you can put your opponent so low, you have the Archer Commander, you have the South Sea deckhand. There's so much damage. There's already 19 damage. Oh no, 17. But he can still find another. He's still 2 Corcons left in deck. He still has an upgrade that will give an additional 7 damage to the Arcanite Reaper after the first swing. So, a lot of damage still in the deck for Nikolai. And yeah, he's definitely thinking about it right now. Do I go full phase or do I go for like a more board control kind of game plan? But I think if you go for board control, I just don't think you're gonna win the game. Maybe,
Yeah,
maybe he's thinking about Arcanite Reaper, trading one of the minions. Next turn, you go South Sea Captain, South Sea Deck, and Dread Corsair to swing the
Yeah.
board, and then win from that point on.
Yeah, I just think you're so going to be winning this game through damage, and I even like saving back the Dread Corsair, but the pickup of Tar Creeper is so good for William. This is exactly what he needed. I mean, Bone Mare on the very next turn would be even better, but this is a fantastic consolation prize. Just denying a hit from the Arcanite Reaper might give you that extra turn you need to push damage, especially because you have Leroy in hand to start pushing some counter lethals yourself.
Definitely. Good here for William. He has the top. Oh, and there's the Blood so good. That is exactly the draw he was looking for. What a
I mean,
draw.
you just go off here with Pirates, don't you?
Yeah, you just go full crazy now. Oh, man. Nikolai must be one happy player right now. That Bloodsail Cultist is just like completely swinging around the game. He can just play 4 pirates with the South Sea captain as well. I don't even think William has an answer to clear all these pirates, so probably there's a chance all these pirates are gonna hit one more time. And also the Archer Commander. So much damage here for Hoy. What a draw here. Oh man. So William has to find his second Dark Reaper or the Bowman, or this game is going from bad to worse.
Yeah, I really like playing out the captain here as well. I could see the reasoning to go for saving back the captain to buff up the South Sea deckhand on the same turn you're playing it. But as you said, this puts up such a threatening board on this turn that the opponent very likely won't even be able to kill it off. And Hydra is a complete dud draw.
That's it, I think. Because now the Dread Corsair is like 4 health. He has to trade 2 minions in, so at least 1 minion will stick. There's 9 damage on the board, and with the South Sea deckhand and the Argent Commander, it's another 6 damage. This is going to be it. Is Hoy actually going to take this game after being so far behind on board? That Bloodsail Cult is completely turning around the game. Finding the Death Knight. But that's not going to be enough,
Yeah,
I
it's
think.
too late. It's too late. There were some really good outcomes there that you could have got. Warrior has a lot of taunt and armor gain, which is exactly what William is looking for here. But I think just playing the Cairn is going to be too slow. It's going to be, 12 damage moving forward, 1 damage off lethal.
That's 1 damage off. And now the thing is, Hoy is praying that there is no Bomer, but I still think if there is Bomer, he's still winning this game. Oh wow, he's going for the grimy gadget there.
I mean, with this play, it's still just praying your opponent doesn't have Bone Mare. It doesn't really matter which way. I mean, the thing is, because if your board gets cleared off after going for the full damage line of play, you then are relying on a top deck. Whereas with this, it can buff up your Argent Protector. This probably is the slightly better way to do it.
Yeah, I even think if he goes for this line of play with the South Sea deckhand, if Bomer comes down, he's still gonna win the game because like Bomer puts it to 9, and then your Argent Commander will be 6-4.
Yeah.
So you can just make the easy trade here, and then the rest will do
Fair enough.
will do damage. Yeah. So the thing is, do you go? Yeah, you have to go full face here. You're never gonna trade here. And the thing is, if Bomer is coming down, you're still gonna win this game, I think. Let's count. If Bomer comes down, it's 9.
Yeah.
You're gonna probably trade something. Probably.
Yeah, you would actually still win the game, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think you do. Oh, Swashbuckler. That can
That's
actually.
it. We're all in on the Swashbuckler.
It's gonna get.
No.
Oh, Rampage, but the Fire Spine Slayer actually. At William's perspective, oh no, Hoy, so happy.
I'm so happy for him.
The brother of the Spring World Champion is going to Barcelona, and he's so happy. But yeah, if your coach is like the Spring World Champion, yeah, you have to be a good player, right?
Got a pretty good shot, yeah. I mean, if the Spring World Champion has the potential to swap places with you, no, I'm joking. I'm sure this that would obviously never happen. But very nicely done there by Nikolai. I think overall we can agree some questionable plays from William towards the start, at least. It felt like overall Nikolai was slightly more comfortable with his aggressive lineup. And also, I'm happy, to be honest, that an aggressive lineup is doing well in WESG. So far, we've seen pretty consistently that hasn't been the way to go. So I like that Nikolai is bringing a different strategy and having a good amount of success with it.
Yeah, well done by Nikolai. Yeah, you saw William's face. I feel so sad for him. Like, he was so close of reaching top 16. He was one win away at DreamHack, and now he's one win away from going to WESG finals in Barcelona. Like, it's so unfortunate getting second. I had this feeling a couple of times with qualify for like Fire Game and Seed Story Cup in China versus AU. It's the most horrible feeling. You play it. You play the entire day. You even play 2 days for this event, and then the last final deciding game. It's 2-2. If you win this final game, you have a favorite matchup, and then you lose, and your opponent is going to Barcelona, and you get literally nothing.
Yeah, really, really unfortunate. But once again, this is a double qualifier event. So Matt the Great and Nikolai are both already through to qualifying for Barcelona, but we will be playing the final because of the fact that it decides how the seed works out. If you win here, you're going to end up in a slightly better position when you do end up in the European finals. So once again, we're going to be going to a quick break here before we come back with Matt the Great for Nikolai Hoy to decide who is the champion of the Denmark WSG Hearthstone qualifier.
World Electronic Sports Games returns with a new season, the largest championship among national teams in the history of esports. Dota 2, Hearthstone, CSGO, StarCraft 2, and $5.5 million at stake. European finals will be held in marvelous Barcelona from the 22nd to the 26th of November. Win your slot in the finals of the World Championship. Register right now. World Electronic Sports Games returns with a new season, the largest championship among national teams in the history of esports. Dota 2, Hearthstone, CSGO, StarCraft 2, and $5.5 million at stake. European finals will be held in marvelous Barcelona from the 22nd to the 26th of November. Win your slot in the finals of the World Championship. Register right now.
Hello, greetings, and well met. Welcome back to the WESG Hearthstone Denmark qualifiers. We have now got 2 players who have managed to make their way, book their ticket through to Barcelona for the Europe Finals in November. These 2 worthy contestants are Matt the Great and Nikolai Hoy. You may be thinking to yourself, if you're just joining us, wow, Hoy's just won the Spring Championship and now he's coming over to this. No, not quite. This is his twin brother making a real name for himself, hopefully finding himself in the position after qualifying for Barcelona where he won't have to be introduced as the twin of Hoy. Maybe it'll be the other way around. But to bring us through these finals, this final of the Denmark qualifiers is Monkeloid. How have you been enjoying it so far, man?
Yeah, it's amazing. We had some great matches already been there, like 2 best of 5s coming to the last game, and that actually were both finals already. Both the winners of those matches were going to Barcelona. Yeah, of course, we have another final right now for seeding, I think, but those games, man, Nikolai versus William, that Priest game going into fatigue, the Rogue game with the Bloodsilk Cultist top deck completely swinging around the game, but also for Matt the Great being 2-0 down and reverse sweeping on the Quest Mage. That was so sick as well. So definitely both great players. And I have to say, Matt the Great, I was really impressed by his play. And also for Nikolai, yeah, of course, he could maybe trained by his really famous twin brother, but now he's going to be the famous Hearthstone player himself.
Exactly, and it's going to be an interesting matchup here because Matt the Great with a more standard lineup than Hoy. Obviously, Nikolai here has got the Druid, Warrior, Shaman, all very aggressive lineups. But for Matt the Great, he's got Jade Druid and Kazakus Priest, more standard. But he's also got the Hunter, which, to be honest, in this lineup, I have to imagine it's going to be struggling against Nikolai's decks because all of his are really going to be fighting aggressively for the board early on.
We're going to see. So we have Shaman versus the Druid. Yeah, I think Shaman should be a little bit favored in this one, but of course, the spreading plague is so strong against the Shaman. Like, Shaman most of the time is at least 4, 5, maybe even 7 minions on the board. And if the spreading plague comes down, all those totems are just not going to kill it. Of course, they have devolve to make it all 1-drops, but then still there are 7 1-drops the Shaman has to deal with. But I think if Nikolai can hold on to his devolve Maelstrom Portal combo till really late on in the game, he should be fine. But look at the start of Matt the Great. Going Wild Grove, Jade Blossom, into Aya, into JB Hamer, even having the swipe as well to maybe remove a bunch of tokens. This looks insanely good for Matt the Great.
Yeah, I was just waiting for the penny to drop and you to realize, oh wait, it doesn't really matter what Nikolai's going to be doing in the first few turns because he's up against pretty much the absolute nuts. If a strong card can come down on the next turn, or if it can get to the situation where swipe is very powerful on this turn, which it's looking like it will be. Swipe on the Primal Fin totem looks great here. Matt the Great is just in such a commanding spot. It's going to have to be a high roll off the Barnes, Doppelgangster Evolve, something ridiculous like that to pull Nikolai back into this game.
Yeah, definitely. He's already sitting on that Doppelgangster, of course. So if he can find one of those insane Doppelgangster Evolves, maybe even getting like a triple 8/8, setting up for that neutral play. But yeah, I think that's the only way he's gonna win this game. Wow, we see Boomer, and that's a... Yeah, that's a tech card we didn't see that much in Shaman. Yeah, of course he did cut the Troll. We were waiting for the Troll the entire game when he was playing against the Priest of Winning, but it didn't came. We saw his deck. Yeah, and I think Boomer is actually a really strong card in Shaman. You always have a bunch of tokens. You can even hero power Boomer, so definitely a great addition to the deck.
Yeah, Bone Mare feels like it's going to be pretty good in this matchup, especially because, as you mentioned, the Thrall Deathseer is not in the deck, which is really going to hurt the matchup because it doesn't give you that mid-game power, or that late-game power, I should say, to see you through to a more value style of gameplay. It's going to be all in on winning the board in the mid stages of the game, which, to be honest, it doesn't look like Nikolai is going to be doing, with the Jades already coming up to the 3/3, 4/4, 5/5 level, and an ultimate infestation to close this all out as well. It's going to have to be an insane couple of turns from Nikolai.
Yeah, Nikolai has to win this game in a couple of turns, and Nikolai has actually a pretty sick turn here. You can trade everything in, goes face with the Barnes as well. Can go Bloodsail Cult, Bloodsail Corsair. Get the patches out of the deck, make it a 3-1 as well. Can trade literally everything, and yeah, ordering is perfect here. Not missing any damage.
This is actually pretty sick from Nikolai. I wasn't expecting such a powerful turn from him, but as you said, utilizing the charge from patches means he's got himself ahead on board. And to be honest, it's made this turn here for Matt the Great really awkward. Going for the Behemoth here has gotten so much worse because of that Flame Tongue. I agree, you just can't really afford to go for just the Wrath here, but it's been a great play from Nikolai to put us back into his favor. And now with the perfect combination of cards into Doppelgangster Evolve, he has turned this game around in exactly the way I was mentioning. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, and he can even make the value trade with the Barn so it will not die to the minion. And he's getting a 5-drop out of it as well. So he can 3-6-drop, a 5-drop, a 3-drop, and a 2-drop as well. If this is gonna be something sick, he's gonna lose game big time. Oh man.
Oh!
I just wanted to say this is one of the sickest Doppel evolves ever. He got a 6-5, an 8-8, a 4-6, and then we saw the Doomsayer coming out. This is crazy.
Oh my god. This is insane.
But I think, yeah, of course, Nikolai is maybe like, yeah, it's pretty fun for the memes. I'm already going to Barcelona. Rather it happening now than as when it was 2-2. And like, wow, this is crazy. Yeah, I feel so sad.
I actually agree with going for the Medivh here.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that you have so much value in your hand anyway, that you just need to start dumping cards out. And because you're very likely to get a minion off of the Ultimate Infestation from the Atiesh as well, I like just playing it out here. But oh my god, what a couple of turns there.
Oh man, oh man. Oh, Spreading Plague looks really good here, by the way. Like, he can go Spreading Plague, gets a 6-drop out of it as well, can even off maybe the one to... Look at that 3-2.
I was going to say that the Behemoth is too good, but as you said, because of the Atiesh equipped as well, I can agree with you here. You're probably not going to see too many more minions coming down. I think I would have still...
Oh, and he gets the 1-1.
Behemoth. What is this game?
Oh, they low roll so hard about this random cards. It's insane. Doomsayer and the 6/6 mana 1/1. Yeah.
This game.
It's a little bit justice, right? And now the default is not actually something you want to play right now.
Yeah, it's true. You're upgrading your opponent's minion there.
Oh man, oh man.
This game has been the most insane high rolls in getting, you know, the perfect Druid curve, getting Doppelgangster Evolve on turn 6, but also the most insane low rolls. Doomsayer off of the Evolve, the big time Racketeer.
Yeah, this is how Hearthstone was meant to be. Like,
this is not what Hearthstone was meant to be. I disagree completely. This is a travesty.
Maybe Blizzard is rigging it. Like, they're already qualified. They were like, yeah, let's make this game a little bit more fun. And
yeah, shout out to Ben Brode in the chat. I know you're a big fan.
We love you, Ben. Oh man.
Oh god.
Yeah, what is the plan right now? Yeah, he's conceded.
That's it. There's nothing you can do here.
But the thing is, he would 100% have won the game. That was not Doomsayer. There's like no way Matt the Great could ever deal with a board like that, even when he was playing like the JB Hames and things like that, and the Jays were getting bigger and bigger. But yeah, the Doomsayer completely turning around the game. And Matt the Great is 1-0 ahead. But I have to say, both players look a little bit less stressed than in their last game, though.
Yeah, it's I think kind of, you know, the fact that they're both already qualified and being such a kind of insane match there, just kind of bringing them, relaxing them down a bit, perhaps bringing a bit of the camaraderie back into Hearthstone here is, you know, like we said, they've both made it through, so the edge is off a little bit here, but they will definitely still be looking to get the victory. It's only the game that's going to be memeing here, not the players.
No, definitely. Yeah, and the thing is, like, if the players win the final, they get also a better seeding in the finals, so yeah, definitely worth to win this game. And look at Nikolai drawing the patches. He had actually a pretty good hand with like the Captain Raider and the upgrade maybe as well, but he finds the patches and that's not the card you want. And look at Matt the Great having the potion of Madness, but also the Dragonfire. So definitely a bunch of cards that are really important, especially against the Pyro Warrior. what is Hoy going to do here? Find Southsea Deckhand as well. Maybe he's going for like upgrade Southsea Deckhand, upgrade coin Southsea Deckhand, go face. Maybe he's holding on to it. But I think you want to equip the weapon here so your Blood Soul rate is at least 3-3 and it's not gonna get killed by like Shadow with Horror, maybe get Potion of Mana or something like that. So I like this play.
I mean, this it's kind of just realizing if you've got a hand literally full of pirates, you do need weapons to start those synergies going. So as you said, I like getting out the upgrade there, even though it's not particularly strong, but you have to make the best of a bad situation. It's never worth making bad plays just because you've drawn bad cards. As we saw, who was the player yesterday in DreamHack who got terrible big priest draws and then effectively threw the game, but ended up winning it because Monsanto couldn't see the lines taking it back. It was a stupid game.
Yeah, ooh, there's the Enderman, but I'm not sure if it's gonna be played. Can be pretty good later on if Nikolai has all those buffed chargers again, and then the Enderman can probably kill them off. Getting the Arcade Reaper is also pretty sick. It can kill off some bigger pirates, and there we go. Bloodseal Cultist right from the top.
I think I agree with playing out the Frothing Berserker now. You're making a threat a little bit before Dragonfire Potion, so you'll likely be able to get in a little bit more damage, and the weapon will still be around to upgrade with the Bloodseal Cultist on the next turn. And even if everything else is cleared off with something like an Organized Soul Priest Circle of Healing, you still have patches into the Cultist, so you will be able to buff your weapon 100%.
Yeah, what about playing the Southsea Captain here, and then just trade, and then play next turn patches and Bloodseal Cultist? That was also one of the lines, but I think you want to develop here the Frothing Berserker, making the 4/4 really smart play, of course, so Matt the Great cannot play his Shadow or Death on it, so he's gonna take at least one hit from the Frothing here. And what is Matt going to do here? He has a pretty bad hand. He can only heal here, and yeah, you don't really want to play Spirit Lash. And now there's a lot of damage coming in, and there's also no Dragonfire Potion yet. Yeah, okay, we're gonna see it like in 2 turns, but next turn probably only the Shadow or Death, maybe the Potion of Madness as well. Can even decide to go like Spirit Lash, but yeah, it's probably going to be Shadow or Death. But no, he cannot even play because the Frothing will still be 4/4 actually.
I mean, you know, there's still some decent things coming through here for Matt the Great, just to see him through. You know, going for the Spirit Lash here is right for a bit of healing. He can still steal a minion with the Potion of Madness into patches to slam it into something. You know, he can hopefully try and see his way through to Dragonfire Potion. And there's obviously the high roll of Pint-Sized Potion right off the top.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty good though. In fact, that's.
He cannot. He cannot.
You steal you steal the patches first, slam it into the Frothing Berserker, and then go Wild Pyro Spirit Lash.
You can't, because your Pyro will be dead before it will proc.
Well, no, but you go for the Potion of Madness before you play the Wild Pyro.
Ah, okay, like that. Yeah. Oh wow, that's a great play actually. Yeah, definitely. You could also decide to go for like Shadow Potion of Madness, steal it, trade it into a minion, and play Shadow or Death on the Frothing. That's also one of the possibilities.
It loses the buff. Oh, I'm such an idiot. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Well, you can still clear off something, I guess.
Yeah, you can clear the Frothing here.
And that's what you just need to be doing. Although the the Dragonfire Potion will kill this all off anyway, you can't take that much damage. You don't have that much life gain in your hand.
Look at this draw, pretty important, I think. I'm not sure if you want to play the Corsair as well, because turn 6 is the Dragonfire Potion. So I think the good player Nikolai is gonna save the Corsair here.
Yep, he knows he's gonna win.
Oh
anyway.
man, yeah, I really like how he's playing.
If they don't have Dragonfire Potion, you win anyway, and if they do have Dragonfire Potion, you now have the refill.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I really like this play.
Fantastic play so far from Nikolai.
Yeah, and that's probably for both players why they are in the finals, right? Like, I didn't see any big mistakes or some crucial misplays or something. Did you see them in like 10, 11 games already?
From Nikolai?
From all the players, actually.
I mean, I think from William there was some talk in the chat about small, you know, like not drawing enough in the priest game. Even though he was getting towards the end of his deck, he still wasn't prioritizing the draw enough. But overall, I have to agree, very, very strong level of play so far.
Yeah, ooh, Captain Green's game. Pretty good card as well, especially since... Oh wow, this can actually get out of hand pretty fast. Of course, the end win is there, but
I think I agree with going for the cultist on this turn.
yeah, definitely. You want to get the whiteboard as soon as possible, especially since you saw the Dragonfire potion already. So there's like a small chance all your minions are gonna die here. And Matt the Great is like forced to heal and clear now. That's so hard to do for 7 mana. Can he actually do it? Like, can go Pyromancer, Spirit Lash? Maybe even playing Acolyte as well, but you want to heal. I think you go Acolyte, Pyromancer, Spirit Lash, but you're gonna die like that. I think this is gonna be it. You can just not clear all the minions.
Yep, I think you're right. Pint-sized potion not being there, Spirit Lash won't heal enough. You got to draw with Acolyte. You can get the Binding Heal maybe off the top. That would be enough. But yeah, I don't think anything else would do it, and even that wouldn't be enough because you're still taking too much damage. So this is going to be an equalization from Nikolai, bringing up to 1 game apiece, ticking off his Pirate Warrior, which is probably a good deck to get rid of. I think, given that you know, most people would say that the Aggro Druid and Token Shaman are the slightly more expected decks in the format. Pirate Warrior feels very underrepresented at the moment, so it's nice for Nikolai that he can just get that out of the way.
Yeah, I think the Warriors. I think the weakest deck of his lineup. We saw it also in the last game, of course, when it took like 2 losses. Almost got reverse sweep, of course, by William, but he took the win now. And yeah, I'm curious who is going to be favored in this one. Like, it really matters how they're gonna queue up. Like, Shaman is pretty good against Hunter, but Hunter is good against Druid, but Druid is good against Priest. So, and Priest is actually good against Shaman. So it really matters how they are going to queue up their deck. So it's a little bit of mind gaming, but also a little bit of rolling a dice here. Like,
whoa, we're already seeing the way that Hunter can just run away with this matchup. We saw from one of the players a couple of days ago, I can't quite remember who it was. I think it might have been Miku in the Eastern Europe qualifiers, but he was playing against with the Hunter against Pirate decks in general, be it Rogue or Shaman, throwing everything away in his Hunter deck that wasn't either Galaka Crawler or tracking to draw that Galaka Crawler, because he knew he was going in unfavored, so he had to hit that Galaka synergy to win.
Oh, and he's coining out the Galaka Crawler to set up for like the Razor Maw. Wow.
Oh my god. So very different style of play. Clearly assuming here he's in a good enough spot just on the standard Hearthstone course of gameplay, where you're both playing stuff, you're both playing your removal. He thinks the Hunter's got a good enough chance to win with his hand. And, you know, we'll have to see if that's the case, because this Galaka Crawler could have swung the game massively if he saved it for the Pirate.
It's also so smart from Nikolai again that playing the Flame Elemental first, before playing the Bloodsteel Corsair. Most of the players will just slam down the Corsair, getting the patch out of the deck, so your deck is a little bit thinner. But if he has that coin Galaka Crawler, I insta lose the game. So let's hold on to that. Maybe he's gonna play the Galaka Crawler, and it actually happened. So now Nikolai is in a pretty good spot. Like, of course, the Crackling Razor Maw is gonna be pretty strong if he finds something like Death Rattle or Hell, but he has to find it first.
I mean, there's some pretty good options no matter what from Nikolai. Like, if it's Death Rattle, you can just kill it off and go for the Maelstrom Portal and kill off most of what's coming out anyway. If it's Health, I guess that's probably the scariest, but you've got the Jade Lightning in a couple of turns, and the Manatide Totem is a fantastic pickup. You kill off the Crackling Razor Maw, there's no way to kill it on board, no way even to kill it in hand.
Yeah, that's gonna be awful for Matt the Great. Like, that Manatide Totem is one of the win conditions in the Shaman deck. If your opponent cannot remove them, your card draw is so important. But there we go, the second Crackling Razor Maw. If he can find the 1/1 or the Wind Fury or the attack, he's gonna kill the Manatide.
Can that really be right? Like, you're playing off mana. I guess on the following turn, you're still giving yourself a good chance of hitting Houndmaster, and then you're going into 5-drop. So I guess just making sure you kill it off as soon as possible probably is the right play.
Definitely. And now is the question what Nikolai Hoy is going to do. I think he's just going to clear it off with the Jade Line. Yeah, I really like this play. Could also decide to go for Barnes, and then your opponent has to trade a little bit, and then you can like set up for like a double Maelstrom Portal. But I think maybe Hoy is going to hold on to it till he's going to like roll spell damage to him on turn 6 or something like that. But, or maybe even with a default. So, but yeah, it looks pretty good right now for Nikolai.
I mean, I would say it's starting to look pretty good for Matt the Great, actually. Just showing not even the power of Galaka Crawler, but the power of Crackling Razor Maw. Such a ridiculous card that he's pulled himself into a pretty good spot here. I guess now the second Jade Lightning's come in as, you know, not quite so far ahead on board, but even just going for Bitter Tide Hydra here on its own, or going for
Oh, man.
Unleash the Hounds into... I think you save that here. I think your opponent's going to be going ahead on the board. You think you just let it rip?
Yeah, you definitely go like Scavenging Hyena and then Unleash,
Really?
trade everything away, make 2 pretty strong minions here, play around like things like Flamethrower or something like that. But also, if you went for like Bittertide Hydra, that double Maelstrom Portal and things like that would completely punish you. You could actually lose the game by just playing Bittertide Hydra. Shaman has so many small tokens. They have like Primal Fin or the 1/1s or even like Flame Elementals. They can deal so much damage to that Bittertide Hydra. It can actually be pretty horrible for you.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So off the barns here, we can see Thing from Below is good for Evolve if it survives, but it seems very much to me like that is going to be dying off before the turn ends. And now here for Matt the Great, yeah, I like just going for this. It gets the most amount of stats on board. Well, actually, I suppose Bittertide Hydra would get slightly more, but it's untargetable. You're spreading your stuff out so it can't be targeted by any single target removal.
If there's a spell damage totem rolled now, Nikolai wins the game on the spot. And it's down totem, not really
that would have been
looking for.
Absurd.
Yeah, that would be so sick. But he actually deserved it after the Doomsayer roll. But
I mean, it's still good here. It allows you to kill off the Houndmaster and the Hyena as well, yeah, which is a really nice way to start pulling this back in your favor, especially because those Bear Sharks trade really badly into your Thing from Below. It's starting to look favorable again for Nikolai somehow.
Yeah, definitely. I really think Shaman is super favored against Hunter. Like, the thing is, Shaman is refill. They have, like, so many tempo swings with, like, Maelstrom Portal and low mana towns or, like, totems, things like that. Flame Tomb Totem is also a really good thing. So, yeah, definitely. Come on, he has... Oh, Devolve. That's a huge draw, actually. Especially with the Kindly Grandmother and those Bear Sharks. But if he rolls spell... Oh, he rolls spell damage! That is insane. Now he can get off the value trade. And kills both Bears. This is
now
nuts.
You've got to think, is it worth it? You can kill off everything 100% if you just go for it here.
Yeah, you never devolve here. Now you're gonna save for maybe a Savannah Highmane or something like that.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow. And now he finds the Wind Fury as well. That's also pretty good, especially with the Flame Totem sitting there in your hand.
That's sick.
You could also decide to even go for Evolve here and making it a 7-drop.
Hell yeah, go for it. A 7-drop out of a 5/1. That's ridiculous.
Wow, that's pretty good actually. Getting a random Mage card and also getting a bunch of 3/3s. It's pretty good. Bittertide Hydra weapon, not really doing that much here.
And now we see, even just for this Bittertide Hydra alone, saving that Devolve is working out fantastically here.
The bow killing off the minion here, and the question is, what is he gonna get here? Oh god, okay,
that's insane.
If he didn't play Evolve, then the Doppelganger wouldn't be a lot of fun, but
and
finds
Cultmaster as well. Really interesting to see that card making a resurgence. Obviously most popular, or most well known for being in Biza's Shaman list, where they she cut the Manatite totems in favor of Prince Taldaram, but I still like it here. It feels like a cool inclusion.
Yeah. Gonna see what Hoy's going to do here. Like, it's pretty difficult turn here. You have like, you want to devolve, you want to actually kill off the Bittertide Hydra, but you also I'm like, yeah, I'm on like 25 HP. I can rush him down probably faster than he can me. I have like Flame Tomb Totem in hand, I have devolve. Like, what is he actually gonna do? Also, even have Cultmaster with all those small doppelgangers, and then Magic Great finds the second Eagle Horn, completely useless at this point. He would have rather seen like a Savannah Highmane or even an Unleash the Hounds for putting more damage to the face.
I mean, you'd rather have seen an Alley Cat in this scenario. Like, literally anything could have been better here.
Yeah, true. Yeah, Nikolai is a pretty happy man right now. And there's the Bloodless, and that's gotta be lethal. Oh man.
Are you sure about that? Do you not want to count that up?
Maybe it's come on, kill him with trading your minions into the Hydra.
Oh, where's the BM?
Yeah, every BM.
So that's going to be literally just the Druid left, standing between Nikolai and being the champion of the Denmark qualifiers, and it has been an absolutely stacked lineup from start to finish. We've seen popular players at the start, most of whom did not make it through to the semi-finals and finals, but just great play from the players we've got so far.
Yeah, we already said it a couple of times. Both players played really well, and as you see, Yeah, Shaman just taking the win, even though Hunter had such an insane start. And yeah, I think that was one of the first mistakes we saw today, like playing that coining out that Galaka crawler. But of course, like you don't see the pirate on turn one. And that's actually what you normally see if they have the Bloodsail Corsair. So also well played by Nikolai. But yeah, we have that caster vision. We can see both hands. So we're like, yeah, keep it in your hand, keep it in your hand. But he has to make a decision. His line was, yeah, going for the 2-drop. It's probably going to stick if he doesn't have Flame Tongue or the weapon. And then I can have like a pretty good cracking Razor into Bear Shark into Hound Master. So I really can yeah, I understand his thinking though. Like, but yeah.
I could agree with you that it's probably still worth playing out the crab, but just because your opponent plays Firefly doesn't necessarily indicate that they don't have the pirate in hand, because as you said, if they have both, they're probably going to play the Firefly first anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, didn't.
But yeah,
it would have been such a different game, yeah, if you could Galaka crawler that pirate on turn 2. But yeah, we didn't see that, and it's 2-1 for Hoy now. So is Hoy gonna take this one? He's at least having a pretty good hand again. This guy knows how to play his aggro druid.
Yeah, I mean, even last game, you know, he drew patches at the start of the game, and he still managed to take it with all his crazy pirate synergies.
Yeah, and it was not even a hard game or something. Like he completely stumped the opponent.
So it's looking at the moment for Nikolai like everything is going to plan, but there are some very, very cool ways in Matt the Great's hand to already deal with most of what's happening. We could just see Shadowed Pain right out the gate here to deal with the wolf, or maybe we could even see a complete board clear here already with the Wild Pyro. I think you save that back for a little bit longer, but it's cool to note that Matt the Great already could just pull the trigger and kill off everything.
Yeah, the only problem with waiting with the Wild Pyromancer here is like if your opponent finds a couple of buffs, you're definitely in a pretty bad spot. There's going for Argent Squire here, maybe going for Mark of Ishar over the Mark of the Lotus. But if he goes for Mark of the Wild, Power of the Wild now, this Pyromancer is actually not even that strong. Can actually not kill everything off.
I mean, you can steal the 2/2 now, which allows you to smack into the wolf, and even that alone would mitigate most of the power on the board, leaving your opponent only with a couple of 2/3s. So I think that's probably you go down. But yeah, as you mentioned, it's become significantly less potent.
Yeah, true. Now let's see what Matt the Great is going for. I think you have to go off with the Wild Pyromancer. You cannot give your opponent another turn pushing face damage. There's actually lethal. There's like 8 and 10. Oh, it's 1 damage. It's 1 damage of lethal actually with the Savage Roar. So if he does not clear it right now, he's in such a bad spot actually. Yeah, he's thinking about it, but I don't really think you can't wait any longer. Wow, he's going for the beat here.
I don't know.
That's pretty greedy though.
The Wild Pyro into Potion of Madness was so good here. Just the fact that you could kill off you could kill off completely the Argent Squire and the Wolf and leave a 1 health minion on the board that your opponent has to deal with, thus limiting their mana on the following turn. Felt so much better to me.
Yeah, and the sick thing is, if Nikolai goes for like Mark of the Lotus Savage Roar now, it's like 6, it's like 9 and 8. It's like 17 damage already, and there's literally nothing that can actually stop Nikolai from winning the game that next turn. In Matt the Great hand at least. Yeah, he can go for like Pyromancer.
Yeah.
But he cannot play Potion of Madness anymore since all minions are like more than 2 health or 2 attack. Yeah, he can go Silence first, go Potion of Madness afterwards, but he can only get like a maximum of 2 Pyromancer procs, because otherwise, if he plays Mind Blast as well, his Pyromancer will be dead.
I mean, I guess obviously with this play, he's just thinking it's not enough board clear. I have to save back the Wild Pyro and hope that I draw another cheap spell. But I think he's probably just got a higher chance of drawing some other board clear, be it Kazakus or Dragonfire Potion or Shadowed Horror, than you have of drawing another cheap spell, given that you've drawn so many of them already.
I would have loved to see that he was going for Savage Roar there, putting your opponent on 4 HP there. It's so huge. Like, the thing is, what is he actually going to do here? Like, if he plays Potion of Madness, he cannot even attack with the minion.
Yeah. It's just so much worse on this turn.
Yeah.
And that is because of the fact that another buff came down. And maybe Matt the Great just had to assume that there wasn't a Mark of the Lotus. But I think Nikolai is going to be the champion here.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think Matt the Great has any outs here. Yeah, okay, you can.
He could heal up the Firefly, and then when he steals it, it would survive to kill off another one of the minions. Oh no, but even then, they would survive, wouldn't they? Yeah, you're right, yeah.
Doesn't really matter. Maybe he's thinking, yeah, if they pray that he doesn't have Savage or something, and just go like Northshire Cleric, heal up your Pyromancer, and just pray. Oh, he's going for it, wow. Just removing 1 damage. I'm not sure why you would remove 1 damage, it's not really adding to something. Like, you still lose to everything. And there, look at Nikolai.
That's it.
Look at his smile.
Nicely done. That does mean that Nikolai Hoy is going to be the champion of Hearthstone Denmark qualifiers for WESG. Matt the Great can't be too sad. He's still going to Barcelona in November to compete in the Europe finals to try and win his spot amongst the top 12 in the general event, who will be progressing onto the World Finals in 2018. Very cool to see Nikolai starting to make a real name for himself, though.
Yeah, really well done by him. And of course, yeah, we all know his twin brother. As you can see, he looks pretty much on him. But like, he played so well throughout all the games. Yeah, I was really impressed by his play. Also from Matt the Great, playing really strong against the match in the match against Krilly. Yeah, I think both players are really happy now. Even though Matt the Great lost the final, I think he's gonna have a good time tonight.
And I'm really happy to see something a little bit different in terms of lineups winning one of these WESG qualifiers. We've seen consistently that Druid Priest and either Rogue or Mage, or maybe like Murloc Paladin, has been the way to go. And that's just been for the last few qualifiers. Every single time it's been Druid and Priest and something else. But from Nikolai there, showing some real prowess with deck building and, you know, very great proficiency with an aggressive playstyle in general.
Yeah, he came up... yeah, with also the Shaman list was a little bit tech, no draw, and also the Pirate Warrior was such a cool list to see, especially with all those buff cards and the Argent Commanders. Not a deck you see that often. And
yeah,
the fun thing to say is like Hoy doesn't even have Golden Heroes. He doesn't play.
That's true.
Yeah, I saw his Warrior and his Shaman were like not golden 100%. So he didn't even play that many games, but he's already such a strong player. That's quite impressive, right? Like playing not that many games, but playing on such a high level is just really good.
Yeah, and so that is going to be everything from today from me and Mongoloid. I will be back tomorrow with, I'm just trying to look up which qualifiers we've got tomorrow. Denmark. It will be Poland and Ukraine tomorrow with myself and Big Ben for the women's qualifiers. And then after that, it will be the Poland general qualifiers with myself and Ball Control. So that will be same time tomorrow, 5 o'clock CEST. But I would like to say now, thank you very much for joining me, Mongoloid. It's been an absolute pleasure, as always.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun again. It's always nice casting with you, like we did already before. And yeah, hope we do it anytime soon. Again, I will be there on Tuesday, actually, with the Scandinavian cast. Yeah, together with Ball Control, I guess.
Cool. So make sure you check that out as well. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you to everyone at WESG for making this event happen. We will see you tomorrow with the next qualifier. Thanks for watching.
World Electronic Sports Games returns with a new season, the largest championship among national teams in the history of esports. Dota 2, Hearthstone, CSGO, StarCraft 2, and $5.5 million at stake. European finals will be held in marvelous Barcelona from the 22nd to the 26th of November. Win your slot in the finals of the World Championship. Register right now.
change our names, live on the sun, where every sound is clearer, burns a little deeper, and we're close enough. Your lucid touch evaporates. I open up my eyes, wake up dreaming through the days and sleepless nights. Your lucid touch evaporates. I open up my eyes, wake up dreaming through the days and sleepless nights. Time winds away around us, frozen in a moment. It just slips through the space in between our fingers. Never stop to wonder.